hours-long standoff near Alexander and Grand Canyon Wednesday night. The suspect wanted in connection with a domestic battery and assault that happened at the same home on Tuesday. He refused to leave the home when Las Vegas Metro Police and SWAT responded. He was arrested without incident about 4 hours later. A 3-judge federal appeals court panel in San Francisco has ordered a halt to the Trump administration's Stay in Mexico policy.
3 Ninth Circuit Court judges, after ordering an end to the policy along the entire stretch of the border with Mexico last Friday, backtracked and changed their ruling to cover only the border with California and Arizona, 2 states in the circuit's jurisdiction. The panel says its order will go into effect on the 12th of this month. The Trump administration implemented the Remain in Mexico policy after large numbers of people appeared along the border seeking asylum in the U.S. The White House says it will ask the Supreme Court to keep the policy in effect through next week to allow the High Court to make its ruling. I'm Tim McGuire.
The U.S. death toll from the coronavirus has risen to 11, with a victim succumbing in California, the first reported fatality outside Washington state. Northwest of Sacramento, an elderly adult who tested positive for COVID-19 after returning from a San Francisco to Mexico cruise has died. They said the victim had underlying health conditions. Washington also announced another death Wednesday, bringing its total to 10. Most of the dead were residents of a nursing home in Kirkland, a suburb east of Seattle. With a check on our weather, here's News 3's Kendall Kim.
Happy Thursday, everyone. Sunny skies with some clouds filtering into the valley today. High set to be around 76 degrees. More clouds will roll in tomorrow with highs around 80. We'll be tracking it for you with more updates throughout the day. From News 3, your weather authority.
Mostly sunny, 62 in Las Vegas. I'm John Shapiro on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON, Las Vegas' only FM news talk station. With a look at the roads, here's John Michaels.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Canada Dry. An accident at Alto west of Park Vista Drive still a factor. Expect delays in the area. Also, police and fire on scene for the accident at College at the 95 and another injury crash on Decatur at O'Bannon Drive. Taking a look at our freeways on I-15, southbound delays are from the Spaghetti Bowl all the way to Tropicana, and 95 in the West Valley still slowing from Craig inbound to Rancho Drive. Traffic's the worst, so grab a can of Canada Dry Ginger Ale and imagine instead you're gently floating through the cosmos on a soft, comfy recliner. Next time, relax with a real ginger taste of Canada Dry. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
It's open enrollment season, and Medishare is the Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google Medishare and see if it's a fit for you. Medishare, healthcare you can believe in.
I'm Jim Snyder.
And I'm Marie Mortera. We want to thank you for making News 3 your #1 choice for news.
Every weeknight at 11, you can count on us to have the big story of the day.
Plus breaking news that matters to you.
Jim Snyder and Marie Mortera. News 3 live at 11.
Hey, Las Vegas, let's face it. Banks don't lend money anymore, and payday loan companies charge too much. Nobody has you covered like the DLC with our signature loans up to $5,000 in less than 30 minutes. Really? Dollar Loan Center's been in business for more than 20 years and has over 250,000 customers for a reason. We're quick, inexpensive, safe, regulated, friendly, and have a cool jingle. Your loan company charges too much, and we can't wait to show you how easy it is at the DLC and how much you can save. Get up to $5,000 in minutes without a checking account and absolutely no collateral required like at the other companies. It's 100% free to apply, and there's no penalties if you pay off your loan early. We have over 50 locations and give you up to a year to pay back your loan.
Licensed by Nevada Financial Institutions Division. Customer must meet the normal loan qualifications. To review loan qualifications, visit us at don'tbebroke.com. Certain limitations may apply. Loans are subject to approval.
March 1994, Schindler's List wins big at the Oscars. Michael Jordan takes up baseball. Justin Bieber enters the world, and Best Mattress opens its doors. Hi, I'm Dave Mizrahi, owner of Best Mattress. Celebrate our 26th anniversary with rollback prices on all the brands you know and trust. Our no-pressure sleep consultants make mattress shopping easy and enjoyable. Plus, pay no down and no interest for 24 months. Best price, best service, best selection, best mattress. Sleep easy, friends.
Hi, this is Harvey Blankfeld, host of Las Vegas Real Estate Now. We are saying farewell to Tuesdays at 9 a.m. and moving to Saturdays at 11 a.m. Please do tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and learn about real estate right here on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
This is Harry Jacobs from Credit Restoration of Nevada, inviting you to join me for the Credit Show, Saturday mornings between 9 and 10, here on the new 101.5 FM and 720 AM KDON.
101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON, the talk of Las Vegas. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Oh, yeah. What's up, Vegas? It is Thursday. Man, I can't believe we're into March already, man. March Madness is upon us. It's a fun time of the year for me. We'll talk a little hoops a little later on the show. Glad you could join us, Sharp and Shapiro. It is the Vegas Take. A lot to get to today. Of course, the big news we will be covering, and that is Elizabeth Warren is out of the race. I know all of you conservatives out there that are listening are really teary-eyed. It's a tearjerker. I understand. I know it. Elizabeth Warren will not be your president, at least not anytime soon. We'll get to that coming up in just a few minutes. I told you last week it was going to be between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, and that's exactly what we have right now. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Mr. X, also known as the Hollywood Conservative, longtime producer out there in Hollywood and a Donald Trump supporter, will be joining us. We'll be asking him a little bit about the coronavirus in California, as it's now a state of emergency out there. We'll get his thoughts on Super Tuesday, that and much, much more. And there's a lot of stuff to get to with the coronavirus, including Matt Gaetz. That's right, DUI Matt, who is mocking the coronavirus. That's right. He's making light of a situation where people have died. We'll explain exactly what he did, and we'll go over that coming up here in just a little bit. We'll also try to figure out if Vice President Mike Pence has any new jerk circles in the last 24 hours. We'll cover that in a little bit in hour number 2. Of course, it's Thursday, and that means it's the Dirty Dining weekly segment with Darcy Spears from 13 Action News. Trust me, folks, you're not going to want to miss this one. It's a good one, that's for sure. So a lot to get to, a lot to go over, and of course, we're going to preview UNLV basketball against Boise State today in the Mountain West Conference Tournament. Huge game, biggest game of the year. I will give you my predictions. It's taken me several days to try to figure out who's going to win this game. So we'll talk about that coming up in hour number 3 and preview it. And Mountain West Conference action actually in the men started yesterday. 11:30 a.m. is game number 1 today. San Diego State will be in action against Air Force. But let's start with the biggest, as I said, it's the biggest news certainly today, this morning, as Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts told her staff earlier today that she was dropping out of the presidential race, ending a run that was certainly defined, I think it's fair to say, by an avalanche of policy plans. And it was aimed to pull the Democratic Party more to the left. And I do think that it did appeal to enough voters to make her briefly a frontrunner. Let's remember, last fall, Elizabeth Warren was a frontrunner. And she had a couple good debates, but I think when it was all said and done, come on, we all knew who this was going to come down to. You know, a lot of people were talking Bloomberg. I never bought that. I always thought it would be, Biden would be one of the front runners and most likely Bernie Sanders. And that's exactly what we have right now. She made a call to her supporters, and on that phone call, she said, quote, "I know that what we set out, this was not the call you ever wanted to hear." She also went on to say, "It is not the call I ever wanted to make." I believe her. I certainly believe her. But again, I don't think she hurt her career. I thought she did a pretty good job in some of these debates. And she will continue to be on the debate stage in years to come. I have no doubt about that. But she also had some issues on the campaign trail, and this is one of the issues that I had. And it's funny, and yet it's not funny, right? I think the biggest issue with Elizabeth Warren, in a way, was the same issues that Hillary Clinton had. And that is that they both have issues at times connecting with the people while on the campaign trail. As you know, Elizabeth Warren talks a lot about her history as being a special needs teacher. Well, she had an interaction on the campaign trail with a special needs student, and it really sounded like she brushed him off. I want you to hear this audio.
Fantastic. Hi. Hi, what's your name?
Ahmad Clarkson.
It's nice to meet you, Ahmad.
Do you have a question? Yeah.
What would you like to ask?
So, for my survivance, who am I about to be the best chosen one who has ever made.
Can you say it again?
Who am I about to be? The chosen one.
Okay.
So, and listen, I'm not laughing at the student. I'm not laughing at the special needs student. I'm laughing at her response. You're a special needs teacher. You obviously have a child or a kid that struggles a little bit with the verbiage, which is totally understandable. And all Elizabeth Warren can say is, okay, and then she moves on to the next student. That's ridiculous. That's not how you deal with people, whether you're running for president of the United States, especially when you're a special needs student. You can't treat people like that. And that was a gaffe, so to speak, to take a page from the Joe Biden playbook. Not good. So this is what is really interesting to me, right? So Bernie Sanders this morning was interviewed. And he was asked, your thoughts on Elizabeth Warren? What are your thoughts on her dropping out? What do you think her future is? Would you ever have her in your administration? And Bernie Sanders responded with class, and he said that he respects her a great deal, and that he also said that he would consider talking to her about a spot in his administration. Very interesting to hear Bernie say that, because I want to play you an exchange that Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders had, very testy exchange, after a January debate where Elizabeth Warren says that, Bernie Sanders accused her of lying on the national stage, which, by the way, he did. Have a listen to this.
I think you called me a liar on national TV.
What?
I think you called me a liar on national TV.
Let's not do it right now.
First of all, let me be clear on this. I believe Elizabeth Warren. She sounded very upset and angry. And I believe, to an extent, Bernie Sanders did call her a liar on national TV. And I believe her, not him. This was in regards to Bernie Sanders saying that a woman could never be president. I do believe Bernie probably said that. I'm sure he regrets it now. I think it was a stupid thing to say. And he did call her a liar. I believe Elizabeth Warren, and I am on her side on that. Do you think Elizabeth Warren would work for the Bernie Sanders administration? By the way, for the record, I don't think Bernie Sanders is going to win. I think Bernie Sanders was lying. I know it's a shocker, a politician lying, right or left. I know that's really shocking. And now we move to Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. And listen, I will be the first one to admit Joe Biden is not a fantastic candidate. He's not a great candidate. He's getting up there in age. A lot of gaffes. I think some of the Republicans that are attacking Joe Biden are unfair. They're going after him because of these gaffes. The man, again, is in his 70s, and there's a fine line between making a mistake and lying. Let me give you an example. On the debate stage last week, Joe Biden said that 150 million people died at the hands of gun violence. Obviously, that's not true, because that would be about half of the population in this country. That wasn't a lie, because it's not believable. Nobody believes that it was a gaffe. He made a mistake. He meant to say 150,000. Instead, he said 150 million. And by the way, 150,000, his point is still very well taken. Gun violence in this country is a huge issue. That is what you would call a gaffe. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. If you're running for president of the United States, you can't say things like that. That's a big mistake. Is it a lie? Does it raise to a... No. A lie would be much worse. But when you're talking about gun violence and you're talking about, gun control and red flag laws and all that stuff, you're just giving Republicans an opportunity to not talk about the actual issue, but talk about the mistake that you made in talking about the issue, if that makes sense. And that's what Republicans are doing. So, listen, he's had some gaps on the campaign trail. This is an issue. This is a problem. Do you remember when Joe Biden confused his wife and sister on Super Tuesday? Have a listen to this.
They don't call Super Tuesday for nothing. By the way, this is my little sister, Valerie, and I'm Jill's husband. Oh, no, this is you switched on me.
It's funny, but it's a little ridiculous, too. How do you confuse your sister with your wife? Well, maybe Donald Trump would do that. He confuses his daughter for his girlfriend. So I guess that does happen from time to time. I guess that's understandable, Joe. What about last week when he confused Chris Wallace with Chuck Todd when he was on Fox News? Have a listen to this.
Mr. Vice President, thank you. Thanks for your time. Please come back in less than 13 years, sir.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Chris, but anyway.
Chris. I just did Chris. No, I just did Chuck. I tell you what, man, these are back to back. Anyway.
No, it's
I don't
okay.
know how you do it early in the morning, too.
Probably a mistake you shouldn't make, Mr. Vice President, when you're on national television. You probably shouldn't confuse who the host is asking you questions. That would probably bother me a little bit as well. Again, I don't think it was malicious. I know it wasn't malicious. He didn't do it on purpose. He's an older man. He's doing a lot of interviews and a lot of press. That one I'm going to have his back. That's a little bit more understandable. But this is tough, ladies and gentlemen. This next one is tough. This is tripping over the words. The vice president tripping over the words, reciting the Declaration of Independence. Have a listen to this.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
Yeah, that's an issue. That's certainly an issue. That's a problem. Again, it's the Declaration of Independence. You can't make those kind of mistakes. You just can't. Can't do it. But again, Republicans going after Joe Biden for some of these gaffes, when you keep yourself quiet and you don't talk about the president of the United States, currently Donald Trump, and his lies, not gaffes, then again, you have zero credibility. Yes, I do think this is an issue. Yes, I do think this is a problem. But again, there's a fine line between a gaffe and making a mistake and lying. And I think that is a distinction that everybody should understand. Now, then there's Brit Hume from Fox News, who on Tuesday, Super Tuesday, suggested that Joe Biden is losing it. And this is something you hear a lot from people on the right today. Have a listen to what Brit Hume said on Fox News.
Dana, as we've noted many times, though, there are two kinds of Biden gaffes. They're the kind he's always made.
Correct.
And maybe this one tonight was one of those. He's prone to that and always has been. It's no big deal. But more recently, we've seen cases in which he didn't know where he was. He didn't know.
Well, listen, Chuck over here has some
Chuck
things
over
to
here.
say about
Exactly. Chuck.
I was waiting to see who was going to do it.
And those are more disturbing because it suggests that he may be non-compass menace, or at least, or he's headed in that direction.
But it's like the stock market. We talk about things being baked into the market. It's like the investor already accepted that. They expect that. I sort of feel that that's the way it is with voters with Joe Biden.
But how many of the people who voted for him tonight would agree that he's senile or getting there?
Wow,
I think
that's a
many.
little.
Yeah, I don't think they would think he was senile. I think that's a little harsh.
Okay, first of all, Brit Hume's an idiot. He really is. Just a complete idiot. He's not a doctor. He doesn't know if Joe Biden is senile. And by the way, if you want to call anybody senile or losing it, I would say it would be Brit Hume. Oh, I'm so glad you asked, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you why. Because he accidentally shared his window tab in an election tweet. He wanted to tweet about election odds because, he is just Mr. Go-To guy when it comes to gambling, Brit Hume. So he wanted to tweet up election odds, but after posting his tweet, everybody wasn't talking about his odds. They were talking about his apparent liking for sexy vixen vinyl. That's right. That's right. On his window tab, it said sexy vixen vinyl, which I find to be quite funny because I never thought of Brit Hume as that sort of guy, the bondage type in the bedroom. But apparently he is. Maybe he was buying something for his wife, or I don't know. So what does he decide to do? He decides to delete it and then retweet the odds without the sexy vixen vinyl tab on the internet, on social media. I have a serious problem with anybody on the right calling Joe Biden senile. First of all, you don't know it to be true. It's not factual. You're not a doctor. Okay, there's a lot of people out there on the left that like to speculate about Donald Trump's health and whether he's senile. I've never said that before. I don't think Donald Trump is senile. I think he's a nut. I think he's a sociopath. I wouldn't necessarily say he's senile. He's certainly narcissistic. You don't have to be a doctor to figure that one out. But for Brit Hume to go on Fox News, on national television, I think Joe Biden is senile. Just shut up, Brit. Nobody cares. Go buy your bondage stuff and whatever other sexual products you like. I'll give you a few stores to go to in Las Vegas if you're ever in town. Just go do that stuff. Go worry about your sexy vixen vinyl. And why don't you put something out in a tweet that everyone can see while you're looking up, drug paraphernalia? Maybe that'll be your next tweet. I mean, it's so ridiculous to me for anybody, and I mean anybody, especially a journalist, somebody that is on national television, I'm not going to say well-respected because I don't think of Brit Hume and the first thing I think of is, wow, what a well-respected journalist. No, he's a right-wing talking point puppet who apparently likes sexy vixen vinyl, who goes on Fox News and wants to speculate that Joe Biden is senile. You know what? I'm going to speculate. I'm going to speculate right now on the air. I'm going to do exactly what Brit Hume did. I think Brit Hume is impotent. I think Brit Hume is having struggles getting an erection. And I think the reason why Brit Hume goes on sexy vixen vinyl is because he can't perform with his woman. That's what I think. I think Brit Hume can't get an erection. He can't get a hard-on. That's what I think. So he went on sexy vixen vinyl. He said, honey, I got to try something. Those pills aren't working either. So he goes on sexy vixen vinyl, and he buys something for his lovely wife, I'm sure, to help him in the bedroom because he's not pleasing her. That's what I think. Now, some of you out there, oh, Brian, that's inappropriate. Brian, that's wrong. Let me tell you something. It's no more wrong what I just said than what Brit Hume said on national television saying that Joe Biden is senile. Do you understand where I'm going here, folks? I'm not a doctor. Heck, there might be a chance that Brit Hume is impotent. It could be very possible, but he does seem like a stiff. So that would lead me to believe he doesn't have issues in that category. But no, in all seriousness, me saying that Brit Hume is impotent is the same type of irresponsibility. And by the way, I'm joking. Brit Hume was not joking when he said he believes Joe Biden is senile. It's the same thing. You're speculating with no evidence to back that up. Actually, I have some evidence. He went on sexy vixen vinyl. Why would he do that? Maybe Brit Hume is just a really kinky guy. Or maybe he can't get an erection. Maybe he's impotent. I don't know. And then Brit Hume says, well, you know, Joe Biden, he's got these gaffes. Maybe he's senile. Same thing, ladies and gentlemen. Do you get where I'm going with this? Do you see the correlation here? It's irresponsible. I would never go on national television and say Donald Trump is senile. I would never go on national television and say that Brit Hume is impotent. I'll just do it on local radio. That's all. But it's irresponsible. It doesn't make sense. We have to stop these people from making comments like that. Listen, if somebody on the left went on CNN or MSNBC and said Donald Trump is senile, Donald Trump has heart issues, and they didn't have any evidence to back that up, I'd be saying the exact same thing. It's irresponsible journalism. And trust me, Brit Hume is not a personality. He's not a Sean Hannity. He's not a Laura Ingraham. He's not a Tucker Carlson. He's a guy who's supposed to be a journalist. He's supposed to be, share some opinions, but he's supposed to be respected. How do you respect a guy like that goes on national TV and says that the vice president, Joe Biden, is senile? It's just, it's absurd. It doesn't make any sense to me. And it's wrong. Look, there's no question in my mind that these gaffes that Joe Biden has made time and time again could hurt him. And I have serious issues and serious questions that if Joe Biden gets there on the debate stage, he's going to have more gaffes. And that is not going to help him in defeating Donald Trump. He needs to be better. He needs to be crystal clear with his thoughts. If you're talking about gun control, you can't say that half the country has died at the hands of gun violence. You can't say 150 million people when you meant to say 150,000. Why? More important than just the mistake and the gaffe is the fact that Republicans, you're giving them an opportunity not to talk about the actual issues at hand, but the mistakes that you made in talking about the issue. That's the problem. And Joe, he can't make mistakes like that. And listen, I don't know. It could be just his old age. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say he's senile because I have no evidence to back it up. What we do know is the man is in his 70s. He's an older guy. He's traveling every day. He's campaigning every day. He's doing interviews, multiple interviews, every single day. That's got to catch up to you. I'm 39 years old. I know if I had that type of schedule, it would affect me. I don't know if I would have those type of gaffes that he would have, but it certainly would affect me. I would believe, if I had a wife and a sister, I'd be able to differentiate between the two. But I'm 39 years old. I'm not in my 70s. I'm not Joe Biden. So this is there's no question that this could affect the election. And yes, why am I talking so much about Joe Biden? Why am I not talking a lot about Bernie Sanders? Because I believe Joe Biden's going to win. And it's not because of the Democratic establishment. It's just simply because the majority of Americans that are Democrats or that will not support a Republican candidate are not going to vote for Bernie Sanders. He's got some support. There's no question about it. Bernie Sanders has a lot of support. But he does not have enough support, in my opinion, to defeat Joe Biden. Now, we will see what happens. I could be wrong. I think in the end, it's going to be Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And I think unless for whatever reason, Donald Trump does not want to win in 2020, and I see no evidence to support the fact that he doesn't want to win, I do think Donald Trump will win and defeat Joe Biden. I do. And I could be wrong on that as well, but I think this is going to be a lot more interesting than the Hillary Clinton debates with Donald Trump. I think these debates, if it is Joe Biden and it is Donald Trump versus Joe Biden, I think these debates are going to be very interesting. However, don't we want more in society? Like, don't we want more in politics in general? Do we really want two men in their 70s yelling at each other? Are these the best candidates that we could come up with? Look, I have a lot more respect for Joe Biden than I do Donald Trump for a lot of different reasons. We don't have enough time to go into those reasons. But I think it would be best for both parties if we had some younger people there in office. We had some younger people running for president. It's just not a good look for this country. It's just not. You know, I don't want somebody president in their 80s. I don't think you should want that either. And I don't care how much energy supposedly Donald Trump has with his KFC food every day and his energy drinks. I don't care how much energy the guy has. I think we need somebody in office that's in his 40s. I've always felt that way. And to see these two guys, and again, it's speculation on my part. I'm giving you my opinion. I do think it'll be Joe Biden. But even if it's not Joe Biden, it's Bernie Sanders. Not like he's a young puppy either. The guy just had a heart attack. This is an issue that needs to be discussed in both parties. I think there should be age limits, not how young you are, but how old you are. I've always felt that way. And I will say this. You know, you have to be in your late 30s to run for office. How about cutting off an age limit? What do you guys think about that? I don't think you should be able to run for office if you're over the age of 70. That is my personal opinion. You know, we have these all these age limits on so many other things in society, but not for the president of the United States. What, you could be 85 years old and run for the presidency? That's absurd. It doesn't make any sense. You cannot tell me that someone's brain works the same at the age of 75 as it did 45. I'm sorry. It just absolutely makes no sense. And I think there needs to be age limits on both ends of the spectrum. How young you are, how old you are. I've always felt that way. Always. Always felt that way. I never will change my opinion on it. So obviously we're covering the breaking news that took place this morning. Elizabeth Warren is now out of the race. To no surprise, it is now between the two candidates, Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. I am glad that all these candidates on the left have done the right thing, and they've stayed. You know, if Pete Buttigieg was still in, I do believe that Klobuchar probably would still be in, and I do believe that Elizabeth Warren would still be in the race. But I think Buttigieg did the right thing, and I think he set a good example, and I think everybody followed and acted appropriately as well. It is going to be Bernie or Joe, and I believe Joe Biden will be the nominee for the Democratic Party. I really truly believe that. So coming up next, we're going to be speaking with the Hollywood conservative, also known as Mr. X. He is a Donald Trump supporter. He is a longtime producer in Hollywood. And he's going to be talking to us about Super Tuesday. Also, his thoughts about the coronavirus. He lives in California. Gavin Newsom called it a state of emergency. A state of emergency for the coronavirus. Is it warranted? Is it real? We'll get his thoughts on that and certainly much, much more here coming up in just a few minutes on the other side of the break. We'll take your calls a little bit later in the program at 702-257-5396. Be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take.
Every day, Doctors Without Borders teams confront hard facts in conflict and crisis zones. When others might look away, we step in to act. Because measles still kills more than 100,000 children every year. We're there to vaccinate over 1 million worldwide, including those affected by the current outbreak in Democratic Republic of Congo. Because half of all maternal deaths occur during delivery or within 24 hours, we've assisted more than 1.4 million births around the world, including care for new mothers in Afghanistan. Because some countries only have 1 or 2 mental health professionals, we offer counseling and clinical care, providing over 400,000 mental health consultations worldwide last year, including care for migrants and refugees on the dangerous journey north from Central America. The fact is, your acts of care and compassion make our life-saving work possible. Picture the impact we can have together. DoctorsWithoutBorders.org.
Warren Ends campaign. Elizabeth Warren's decision to end her campaign has prompted a presidential tweet.
President Trump using nicknames in his reaction on Twitter. Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren, who was going nowhere except into Mini Mike's head, just dropped out of the Democrat primary 3 days too late. She cost Crazy Bernie at least Massachusetts, Minnesota, and Texas, probably cost him the nomination. Came in third in Mass.
Correspondent Bob Costantini at the White House. The Sanders campaign is now working to try to win an endorsement, as we hear from correspondent Kyung Law.
There's a lot of anxiety in Sanders' world because they want to know what the next step is. Will Elizabeth Warren endorse Bernie Sanders?
Both Sanders and Biden have reached out to Warren since Super Tuesday. The candidates covet Warren's campaign support. Warren plans to hold a news conference momentarily and no doubt will be asked about an endorsement. I'm Mike Moss.
Here is some. It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Bob Evans Dinner Sides. An accident reported on the Northern Beltway westbound approaching the 95. Vehicles off to the right. Also a crash on 95 southbound south of Cheyenne Avenue on the 95 in the West Valley. Vehicles off to the right, slowing us from Craig. And an accident with injury sustained reported Decatur Boulevard north of Sahara. And police and fire with an accident at Farm Road at Cimarron. Make mealtime easy with Bob Evans side dishes like mashed potatoes and mac and cheese made with real milk, butter, cheese, and potatoes. Get Bob Evans at your grocery store. It'll be love at first bite. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Here is some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or if you sign up for a plan that you're just not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called MediShare. It's the affordable alternative to health insurance, and it's worked beautifully for 25 years. They have more than 400,000 members now around the country. MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry, and over the years, members have shared over $3 billion of each other's medical bills, so they could help share your needs too. And best of all, you could save a lot of money with MediShare. The typical savings for a family is about $500 a month. Your savings could be more or less, but think about what you could do with that extra money every month. You're not stuck with a high-cost health plan. You can join MediShare anytime, so call them today and check it out. Here's the number to find out more, and there's no pressure. They are super easy to talk to. Call 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE. 844-91-BIBLE.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us on a Thursday. Oh, yeah. Elizabeth Warren out of the presidential race. We've been talking about that in the first segment. A lot to get to. Of course, we just had Super Tuesday, and the breaking news that we're covering right now, according to multiple sources, the coronavirus has now hit Clark County. We have now, again, according to sources, one case of coronavirus in Clark County. So it is hit right in our backyard. Joining us right now on the line, he is known as the Hollywood conservative. We call him Mr. X. The reason for that is he is a Donald Trump supporter and a longtime producer out there in Hollywood, in fear for people not knowing who his real name is. But we always appreciate it when he takes some time to join us from his perspective as a conservative in Hollywood. Mr. X, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
What's up, Mr. X?
I'm good. You guys have one case, huh? You better rush to Trader Joe's and buy all the toilet paper and water, since that makes a lot of sense.
Well, listen,
Have
that's
you guys been...
that's absurd.
That already happened, I believe.
We talked about that yesterday. There are a lot of idiots out there that are buying the water and the masks that don't help, and we were mocking some of those people for doing so because I think they're all morons. With that being said, there have been 11 people that have died from the coronavirus. Obviously, the flu is much more serious situation than the coronavirus. The only situation being that with the coronavirus, obviously they don't have a cure for it. If you get the flu, they can give you antibiotics. They can't do that really with the coronavirus. They haven't figured that out yet. So let me ask you this: being a person who lives in California, what do you make of the state of California, Gavin Newsom calling in a state of emergency? What are your thoughts on that?
It's not to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but the media and the government just thrive on fear. I mean, it's always how this country has worked. It happened with 9/11 and various different things that they were able to put into place at airports and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that that's the case, but that's what their job. Like, they just want to scare people. Like, Do I want to get the coronavirus? No. Do I want anybody I know to get it? No. But it's not as horrible as the media is portraying it to be, especially not in America. I mean, a state of emergency because one person died. I mean, I don't know.
Well, listen, I tend to be on your side. I agree with you. But coming up in the next hour, we're going to play some audio. I'm sure you don't agree with Donald Trump blaming Barack Obama for the coronavirus. Yep, that's what he did. I'm sure you don't agree with Matt Gaetz.
Blame Obama.
Thanks,
sure,
Obama. Exactly. I'm sure you don't agree with Matt Gaetz, as I like to call him, DUI Matt, for mocking the coronavirus and wearing this weird mask into a vote where he's supposed to be acting in a professional manner. So while I agree with you that this is blown out of proportion, I'm on your side. At the same time, I think our politicians need to act professional. I also have a problem with Mike Pence. I like to call it the jerk circle, where he's trying to pray the virus away. He has a very bad history of letting his religion get in the way of policy. So you see, there's both sides to this. Yes, the media and people are blowing this out of proportion, but I also think some Republicans are mocking a situation that is still serious.
Well, that is somewhat hilarious, but I don't disagree with you. And praying it out of existence is definitely not going to work. But
no.
Yeah, I mean, of course, and we've obviously you saying that politicians should act professionally. I mean, haven't we gone long past that at this point? I mean, that train has completely come off the tracks. Just follow Donald Trump on Twitter.
Well, that's true. That's true. There's no defense of that. But, I think while people need to act professional, I think that the citizens also need to use their brain a little bit. And if they hear that there's, we now learn through sources allegedly that somebody has the coronavirus in Clark County, that doesn't mean that everybody should quarantine their house, and it doesn't mean that everybody shouldn't live their lives. If you don't feel good and you feel like you're coming down with something, or, worst case, you have a fever, go to the doctor and check it out. Don't freak out.
And this particular case was a 50-year-old man who had just returned home from Washington State, which is where 9 of the 11 deaths have occurred in the United States.
Right. So, I mean, you can't.
And also, this is not like a death sentence if you get this virus. No. People are going to recover and they're going to be okay. I think that the people who are dying are generally probably in bad health otherwise,
Yeah, exactly.
But it's crazy. I mean, this has affected the film industry. Did you guys see that James Bond? They pushed it 7 months, the release of it.
I didn't know
all the way in the fall. Yeah, they were. It was supposed to be released now, and I think in April, and it's not being released until November now. And they've been China. I know a lot of people who are doing business with China, and China is one of the bigger consumers of American film, and they've just completely shut down at this point. They're not doing anything.
I think we both agree. This is blown out of proportion. I do think it needs to be taken seriously, just like the flu should be taken seriously. And the flu is far more serious than the coronavirus. But I think, stronger heads need to prevail here. The politicians need to stop mocking it. Those on the right need to stop saying that the Democrats want innocent people to die so that Donald Trump is reelected in 2020.
One person said that.
Well, one person.
Donald Trump Jr.
Well,
said
one
that.
person said it, but the vice president.
He's not even a politician.
One person said it.
He's just connected to a politician.
One person said it, but the vice president said it was understandable and he defended it. That cannot happen.
Mr. X, so do you think that by California declaring a state of emergency, which is what Gavin Newsom did, which to me is a bit over the top, how much money are they going to get from that? And do you think it's more of just a play to take a big chunk of money from the government?
I would say that's part of it. I have a bigger conspiracy that I think plays into these type of things as well, that just pertain to the medical industry and forced vaccinations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen that yet. But I definitely am very distrustful of the medical industry in general, and I would not put it past them to utilize this as a way to scare people into using new drugs or vaccinations or whatever that are not tested and that we don't really know what's in them. So we'll see if it comes to that. I think that's more on a bigger scale, but who knows? That sounds a little bit like, tinfoil hat in my basement talk, but I mean, it's not
very Alex Jones-esque of you.
Yeah, but we'll see. So.
If you're just joining us, we're speaking with the Mr. X. He is the Hollywood conservative, a longtime producer out there in Hollywood, talking about the coronavirus. Gavin Newsom. Yeah.
The worst part of this too, though, guys, is that like usually when something bad like this is going on, you can go to the movies as an escape, But have you seen what the box office is like?
That's been terrible. Yeah.
Oh well, and this is the worst part of the year for films. I mean, I was literally today just looking at the top movies, and it's The Invisible Man, which looks awful.
Yeah.
The Call of the Wild, which looks awful. Sonic the Hedgehog, Birds of Prey, Bad Boys for Life. Like you can't. There's no escape right now.
Well, Mr. X, that's a good. Mr. X, that's a good point you made. And I was at the Mountain West Conference basketball tournament at the Thomas and Mack Center yesterday. Very sparse crowd. And listen, maybe because the basketball wasn't great, but I'm also going to say that there's probably some people that decided not to go out because of this coronavirus. And you make a valid point there. It's hurting a lot of industries. I guess it's not hurting Costco because you got a lot of nimrods that are walking into Costco that are stocking up on toilet paper and water and masks. It's insane. Anyway, this is getting me angry. Let's move on to Super Tuesday, which might get you angry, but that's fine. We want to get you fired up. So let's talk about the breaking news. Elizabeth Warren is out. As you know, Klobuchar, Buttigieg, they're all out the door. This is between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. What are your thoughts on Super Tuesday and where we're at right now?
What the hell are the Democrats doing? I just truly do not understand this entire political party. They're such idiots. And no offense. I mean, we are too on the other side. But what, do they really think that Joe Biden has a chance? Honestly, this again, I'm going to put my tin hat back on. I feel like whoever Joe Biden selects as his running mate is an extremely important person to watch because Biden's health is not good. The guy looks to me like he might have Alzheimer's. And so, what are they doing? Do they think that he's going to have any chance against Trump? I can't stand Bernie Sanders. I appreciate a lot of his social policies, but his economic policies are completely not viable to me. But I think that he's the only chance that the Democrats have against Trump because he's the radical sort of Trump of the left.
Okay, so let me interject, Mr. X. I agree with some of what you said. I'm not a big Joe Biden supporter. I'm not a Bernie Sanders supporter. So we agree on that. But here's where I take a little bit of issue to what you just said. You just said, does Joe Biden have Alzheimer's? Well, Joe Biden did something that Bernie Sanders has not done. He has released his health records. There is no evidence to support the fact that he's senile. There's no evidence to support the fact that he has Alzheimer's. However, let's be honest here. Let's be honest. He's in his 70s. He's an older man. He's traveling every day. He's probably extremely tired.
You're making excuses for him, Brian.
Hold on.
I mean, the guy has had more gaffes than any presidential candidate probably in history.
Well, I would say Donald Trump probably has more lies than any president in American history. I'd rather have gaffes than lies. For example, I said this last segment. Joe Biden said 150 million people died at the hands of gun violence. Okay, that was not a lie. It was obviously a gaffe. He meant to say 150,000. So while
that's half the population of the United States, Brian.
As I said in the first segment, I don't know if you were listening, as I said in the first segment, these gaffes are an issue. They're a problem, and I'm not ignoring them. It's going to be an issue, and I do believe if it's Trump versus Biden, Trump is most likely going to win. But with that being said, I do take issue to what you said. There's no evidence to support the fact that Joe Biden has Alzheimer's, Mr. X, and I don't think that's I don't think that's fair.
But did he not?
I mean, the eyeball test. When I watch him say he's running for the U.S. Senate about a week ago, I don't know what else to say. Fine, he doesn't have Alzheimer's, but I don't know if he gets nervous or. But he legitimately doesn't look like he knows where he is. I'm just going with the eyeball test, man. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think a lot of it will come to light if and when he becomes the nominee and if and when he gets into a debate with Trump. Because, yes, Trump, you can say he lies and he talks out of his ass, all of which is completely true. But he's at least sharp to the extent that I feel like if you stand there and talk to him, he is on planet Earth. Whereas Biden, I don't know where this guy is. He honestly reminds me of my grandfather a little bit. And so I just worry because that's so important to the U.S. public. It's not to me. I don't even watch the debates. I can't stand them. I think they're pointless. Watching people argue about things that they're not even going to do should have no bearing on U.S. politics.
Wait, do you call your grandpa Sleepy Grandpa? I'm just curious.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, but he might even be. He's 100 years old and he might be sharper than Joe Biden. But
all right, go ahead.
The point is
he's really 100 years old.
Yeah, he is.
Wow.
Actually, yeah. Wow. He made it. He's a colonel in the Army, former colonel in the Army.
God bless.
World War I and World War II.
God bless him.
Yeah, but Bernie Sanders can actually get into an argument with Trump, and that's honestly what politics are in this country right now. It's just like finding things that you can meme about and post on your social media. And I feel like Sanders is more quotable and, sharper and more of a jerk like Trump is. So I feel like those two could go at it.
Well, it kind of works both ways because Biden didn't really get into arguments with anybody, and then he got all these endorsements. He got the endorsement from Klobuchar, Buttigieg, Bloomberg, because he didn't really attack he didn't really attack anyone. It'll be constant attack with Donald Trump, and you're right, Joe Biden. Either his memory is just almost non-existent because he does kind of get in that deer in the headlights look when he's not sure what's going on. But he also suffered a stroke. I mean, he's had some history with medical problems over the course of his life. He is in his mid-70s. But one thing Donald Trump will do, and you can say, yeah, he's a liar. He says he talks out of his ass, whatever. But it requires intellect and calculation to do those things. And I think that if Biden has any of those gaffes in debate with Trump will jump all over it so fast, and then Biden won't know what to do.
And you're right, like Klobuchar and Buttigieg and these guys endorsed Biden, and I feel like again, this is very similar to the 2016 election where the Republican Party hated Trump. I mean, the other powers that be, quote unquote, in the Republican Party, I'm blanking on the Mormon guy's name, but these guys, they hated Trump.
Mitt Romney.
And they were, thank you. And so they were all really trying to sabotage Trump. And I think that's the same because they didn't know exactly what he was, and they didn't know if they could control him. And so I think that's the same thing with Sanders. Why the other quote unquote heavy hitters in the Democratic Party are backing Biden because he's a tool. Like I feel like you could probably tell him to say something and he would go do it. Like he doesn't strike me as a leader. That's just the bottom line. And Sanders does. It strikes me as an insane person, and so does Trump. But like they at least have the sort of charisma and natural sort of leadership qualities, for good or for worse. You could be going on the scale of leaders from Hitler to someone who's not Hitler, but the point being that Biden he's not the type of person that I even want to listen to or care about.
Well, like I said, I'm not here to defend Joe Biden other than this. I think he is a decent human being. I think he is a good man. He's had a difficult life with everything that took place with the car accident and losing members of his family. I don't think he's a bad guy by any stretch of the imagination. But you make some valid points as well, and that is why I am not a huge Joe Biden supporter. We'll have to wait and see who he picks as his vice president. But hey, listen, Mr. X, always appreciate it when you take some time to join us. Thank you so much. And have fun this weekend, whatever you're doing. Go catch a bad movie.
Yeah, I'm not going to be seeing any of the nonsense that's out there right now. But
I don't blame you.
I don't know. I'll Netflix and chill or something.
I don't blame you. Mr. X, always love it when you come on, my friend. Thank you so much. We'll catch up with you next week.
Yeah,
okay.
Thanks a lot, Mr. X.
All right, take care. That is the Hollywood Conservative, Mr. X. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, it is time to do the news with Mr. John Schaefer. Be back in a flash. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Who owes back taxes. If you get nervous when the mail comes because you might get a letter from the IRS, then you've heard. Their enforcement agents are cracking down this year and can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts. Even your home or business could be at risk over unpaid taxes. It's all true, but it's also true there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative, an important government program for tax debt assistance. The award-winning experts at Optima Tax Relief will fight to get you the best deal possible, protecting your paycheck and your assets from IRS collections. But don't delay, because the IRS is tacking on interest and hefty penalties every single day. So don't wait until it's too late. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
My son is a handsome young man, like a movie star. There's no limit to what he can do. I don't know why he would ruin himself with alcohol. When I think about the happy boy he used to be and how sad his life is now, it breaks my heart. I love him as much as I ever did, maybe more, but I don't understand why this is happening. My therapist recommended I go to Al-Anon family groups. He said Al-Anon members have lived through the same kinds of things that are happening to my family. I didn't want to go to Al-Anon, and I didn't want anyone to know how difficult it's been. But I'm glad I went. Is someone's drinking breaking your heart? You might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or go to alanon.org.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us on a Thursday. By the way, very excited to announce we're going to have UNLV assistant coach Kevin Kruger joining us in hour number 3, just a few hours before their game against Boise State. So that'll be a fun way to break down the game against Boise today at 2 p.m. But joining us in studio, it's been a little while. He's been on vacation. He's back looking
vacation. I had surgery.
That was a vacation. That was a vacation. Come on, it wasn't a serious surgery. All right. It wasn't not like you had like a heart condition. Or something. No, you're okay.
Yeah, just hernia.
You're looking very, very healthy today. I'm very, very upset that you're in the shape that you're in and you have a full head of hair and I have to wear fake hair. So just for the record, I want to say I'm very jealous. Anyway, John, good to have you back.
You do look significantly better than Brian right now.
Right now?
Yeah, no.
He always looks better than me. What the hell are you talking about?
Especially post hernia surgery, he's kind of glowing a little bit.
Let's give out all of John Schaefer's personal health information.
The post-hernia glow.
All right, Mr. Schaefer, other than the hernia, what else is going on in the news?
Well, as you mentioned, the first case of coronavirus has been confirmed here in Clark County. Government sources speaking on conditions of anonymity told the Review-Journal the person tested positive for the virus. However, Health District spokeswoman Jennifer Sizemore issued a statement that said the Southern Nevada Health District has not released a statement or information to any organization with an update about COVID-19. We will provide an official statement later this morning. A news briefing will be scheduled for later today, but no time has been given for that news conference.
Okay, so a lot of questions. First of all, if this is true, obviously they're going to find out where this person was traveling and all that stuff.
Right.
But if there is someone in Las Vegas that has the coronavirus, there is a very good chance, I don't think this is a ridiculous opinion, that there are others now that have the virus as well. I mean, I don't think that's a ridiculous opinion, right? So we could see more as the days, weeks, and months go on, right? I mean, I think that's a fair statement to make.
That's a fair statement.
So do you think people are going to freak out? Because it's ridiculous.
People freaked out when that wasn't here. I mean, a friend of mine works at Sam's Club and sent me pictures from work this morning of the empty store shelves and people who are lined up at the store just waiting for the water truck. It might not be here till later this evening to show up with bottles of water. What's wrong with your tap water? We're not in a crisis. The power didn't go off.
It's kind of like when the porn awards are in town and all the gas stations are out of condoms. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's the exact same situation, Brian.
Go ahead, Schaefer.
Oh, we might run out of those now, too, because you don't want to get it that way.
That's right.
Elizabeth Warren has ended her Democratic presidential bid after a disappointing finish in Super Tuesday states. The Massachusetts senator told supporters today she refuses to let disappointment blind her. She spoke to front-runners Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden, but has not endorsed anyone.
Who do you think she's going to endorse?
Bernie.
You think so? Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, her ideas align more with Bernie than they do Joe Biden, so I tend to agree with you.
I think she has to endorse Bernie.
I don't think Biden is not going to make her a member of his cabinet, so there's no reason.
Why would he?
Yeah.
Okay. John, go ahead.
A man was arrested following an hours-long standoff near Alexander and Grand Canyon last night. The suspect wanted in connection with a domestic battery and assault that happened at the same home on Tuesday. He refused to leave the home when Metro Police and SWAT responded, but he was arrested without incident about 4 hours later.
I hear about these stories all the time where the SWAT team is involved and people. I remember when I was a reporter, actually here at KDWN over a decade ago, when I did have some hair, but I was still shaving my head back then. But anyway, no, but I covered a lot of stories. It seemed like on a weekly basis, we have these people who barricade themselves in homes and the SWAT team's involved. I would imagine. Why does that happen so much here? I don't understand.
know.
I don't understand that. Did somebody have a bad night at the blackjack table? Like, I don't understand. They just lose their mind.
Yeah.
And
They're going to get caught.
Yeah. Like, what do they think? They're just going to barricade themselves in a home and then the police are just, the SWAT teams, you know, guys, we've been here for 3 hours. It's lunchtime.
Yeah, we got to go.
We got to hit up some Taco Bell. We got to get out of here. I mean, I don't understand these people.
Please don't leave the house. We're going to get lunch. We'll be back.
Just stay in your house. We'll be back in an hour. Like, I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't get it either.
Well, an advocacy group has filed a lawsuit aimed at forcing Nevada to put more money into classrooms. A civil complaint filed Wednesday in state court in Carson City accuses state education officials of chronically underfunding, overcrowded, and low-performing public schools. The lawsuit is backed by the Educate Nevada Now advocacy group. It declares education a basic state constitutional right and calls current budgeting insufficient to ensure classroom success.
What about more money to our teachers? You know, it's one thing I will say about Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders is they have some policies put in place where they want, what do you think about this? At minimum, a teacher making $60,000 a year. Now, obviously, there would have to be cuts made in other categories, but yeah, I'm okay with that. That's a difficult job being a teacher.
I think teachers should make more.
60, I think, is fair.
I think school districts waste money, though. I think there's money there that could be used for education and teachers, but is used for layers and layers of administration and.
I think teachers in expensive areas like New York, Los Angeles, in inner cities like that should be making maybe close to six figures a year, but 60,000 across the board. And you have to. I think that the salary should be tailored to the market and the standard of living.
Well, let's just put it this way. Some of the teachers in this district are making like $35,000 a year, the ones that are starting, and that is absurd.
It should be 50.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
I don't think it should be an across-the-board thing because, again, I think there are good teachers and there are bad teachers.
Right,
good teachers deserve everything they get.
Wait, there's bad teachers
You
out
need
there?
to be able to get rid of the bad teachers. That's the problem.
Well, I had some really bad teachers in high school. I really did.
I had horrendous teachers in high school.
I had some of the worst teachers, like the worst teachers you could possibly imagine. I had one teacher, maybe that's why I don't like Laura Ingraham. I had one teacher that looked and sounded exactly like Laura Ingraham.
I thought that Mabel Shapiro, paid for the finest schooling for you, Brian.
Okay, for people who have no idea what you're talking about, that's a woman who does some comments on our YouTube page. But yes, I did have a teacher. She was a geography teacher. She sounded just like Laura Ingraham, and she looked like Laura Ingraham, and she had that cross around her neck.
So that's why you hate Laura Ingraham.
That's
part of it. If you didn't have that teacher, you wouldn't have as much of a disdain for Laura Ingraham.
I hate Laura.
You just admitted it.
No, I hate Laura Ingraham because I hate racists. That's why. But
Can
anyway.
you find Kansas on a map?
Yes, I can.
All right. Well, there you go. Then she must have been a good teacher.
But with that being said, if Mike Pompeo walked into this room right now and he brought out a map and he said, "Find Ukraine," I'll be honest with you, I probably couldn't find Ukraine. I would call him an a-hole, but I probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't be able to find Ukraine on a map. That is, I'm just being honest. But then again, I'm not an NPR
it's basically
reporter.
Southeast of Russia.
I wouldn't be able to know. I don't have great geography.
Not a huge country.
Listen, my geography star, I wouldn't even be able to find Laughlin. I would just say it's Trump country. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where to go. I don't know where Pahrump is. I don't know. I need thank God.
You know where Pahrump is. It's right over there. It's over the hump.
I know where the Chicken Ranch is. Okay, I'll be honest. I know where that is. I guess that's in Pahrump. But thank God for my cell phone.
I've never been there.
Well, you should go.
I'm
It's a lot of
bothered by
fun.
that. I think I need to check it out soon.
Chicken Ranch or to Pahrump?
Pahrump. And both.
They have good wineries there.
Chicken Ranch, Pahrump, Mesquite. I just hit Laughlin for the first time last week. The drive was very scenic, by the way. I really enjoyed that.
Here's what I think you should do, JD. A night out on the day with your daughter. Take your 2-year-old daughter on a field trip and just tell her you're going to get some chicken at the Chicken Ranch.
Right.
I think it'd be a great day between father-daughter. I think it'd be a great field.
Take your daughter to work day.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be a great field trip.
Sounds like a good way to get arrested.
Do the legal prostitutes do that? Do they have a take your kid to work day? Well, I wonder how that would work.
I don't know.
Just wait outside the door, honey. Mommy's got some work to do. All right, we're gonna.
That's just Forrest Gump, Brad.
just awful. All right, John Schaefer brings out the worst in me. What can I say? He really does. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break, and when we come up next, John, we're going to talk a little bit more about the coronavirus. Donald Trump blaming Barack Obama for the coronavirus. That's right. Matt Gaetz embarrassing himself once again, and you're not going to believe some of the headlines and some of the publications talking about the coronavirus. If you want to talk about fake news and the fake media, well, we have some proof of that coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take 101.5 FM, 720 AM, K-Dawn.
Your home for Sean Hannity. KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Report Warren ends campaign.
I am suspending my campaign for president.
Elizabeth Warren speaking just minutes ago outside her Massachusetts home.
I will not be running for president in 2020, but I guarantee I will stay in the fight for the hardworking folks across this country who've gotten the short end of the stick over and over. That's been the fight of my life, and it will continue to be so.
Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden have both reached out to Warren since Super Tuesday, and both would covet her endorsement. Correspondent Kyung Law reports the Sanders campaign is especially anxious about it.
Bringing in Warren's voters would give the Sanders campaign a burst of life that it needs right now.
On the question of endorsement, Warren says she is going to take a little time before deciding on that. She says she refuses to let disappointment blind her from her success on the campaign. I'm Mike Moss. Airlines fear they will lose more than $100 billion from the coronavirus. Correspondent Christina Alessi reports they are shedding flights to save money.
This is the first reduction to domestic flights we have seen in this crisis, and it's all tied to the fact that consumer demand is dropping over concerns over the spread of coronavirus.
The historic Church of the Nativity has been closed in Bethlehem today because of fears of coronavirus. President Trump says he'll withhold money from so-called sanctuary jurisdictions after a court ruled that his administration could block federal law enforcement funds to states and cities that don't cooperate with federal immigration authorities. Secretary of State Pompeo says the upsurge in violence in Afghanistan could immediately impact the peace process moving forward. On Wall Street, the Dow was down significantly, off 941, S&P down 103. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Upwork. When you need in-demand talent on demand, crash on the 95 southbound south of Cheyenne. Vehicles remain off to the right. Slowing on 95 in the West Valley, still from Craig Road down to Summerlin Parkway, then the pattern breaks free. 15 southbound, expect slowing from the Spaghetti Bowl to Tropicana. Northbound 15 slowing Russell up to Spring Mountain, and a crash on the surface streets at Decatur just north of Sahara. Upwork has the world's largest network of independent professionals like designers, developers, data scientists, you name it. When you need in-demand talent on demand, Upwork is how. I'm John Michaels from the K-Dawn Traffic Center.
It's open enrollment season, and Medishare is the Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google Medishare and see if it's a fit for you. Medishare, healthcare you can believe in.
President Trump has been exonerated, and now there's something every real American ought to have. Limited edition Trump 2020 American Eagle Silver Dollars. Celebrate Trump's historic victory with limited edition American Silver Eagles, specially priced from govmint.com. Just call 1-800-895-7664. Hold the weight of democracy in your hand with new, perfect, uncirculated condition Silver Eagle coins. These historic coins, signed into law by Reagan, have been America's money since 1986. To secure your new limited edition Trump 2020 American Eagle Silver Dollar coins, call 1-800-895-7664. Call now and we'll give you a free Trump 2020 Patriots Pack, including a Declaration of Independence commemorative and 5 Lincoln cents when you order. Call now to secure your Silver Dollar coins. Plus, get your free Trump 2020 Patriots Pack, valued at over $10, free with every order. 1-800-895-7664. That's 1-800-895-7664.
Regaining control of your drinking doesn't have to mean uncomfortable group settings or the unrealistic expectation of sobriety. Meet Life Back, a physician-approved, completely private, app-based program designed for those who want to cut back on drinking without having to quit completely. Using a combination of medication proven in clinical studies to reduce the urge to overdrink in 92% of people and in-app coaching and support tools, LifeBack makes drinking a choice rather than a habit or a need. Every aspect of your LifeBack plan is managed on our mobile app from the privacy of your phone, and medication is delivered directly to your doorstep without the need for in-person doctor appointments. Start the LifeBack program now and treat yourself to sharper focus, better health, stronger relationships, and saved money while still enjoying moderate drinking. Visit lifebac.com. That's lifebac.com. Get your life back today with LifeBack. Visit lifebac.com.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, so glad you could join us on a Thursday. We'll be taking your phone calls this hour. Don't worry. That number is 702-257-5396. As I mentioned earlier, the breaking news is that it appears as though there's at least one person confirmed with the coronavirus right here in Las Vegas. U.S. virus death toll has now hit 11. So, there's some serious stuff to talk about there. But there's also some ridiculous stuff to talk about. And yesterday we discussed people going to Costco, loading up on these stupid masks and water and toilet paper. These people are nuts. So I want to read you a little bit of some of the ridiculous headlines. I know some people talk about the media, fake news, and how they're, making these situations a little bit more serious than they truly are. I want to read you some of these headlines. One headline says, Australian paper prints blank pages to help tackle toilet paper shortage. That's right. An Australian newspaper has done that, by the way. It's absurd. Here comes another headline. This is a funny one. Coronavirus fears boosting grocery delivery. House cleaning services. It's affecting house cleaning services. Corona beer maker CEO says coronavirus not impacting sales. Campbell Soup sees more demand from soup stockpiling. That's right. There's a bunch of nut jobs that are going into these stores and buying soup, stocking up on Campbell Soup. Colorado construction workers can't find masks amid coronavirus panic. I mean, folks, this is ridiculous. Okay, this is going 2-3 steps over the line. But hey, guys, everything is going to be okay because there's always the Mike Pence jerk circle. So we will be just fine. Just know in your heart that Mike Pence is praying for you, and he's praying for this coronavirus to go away. So, you're in good hands, folks. That's all I'm saying. It's the Pence jerk circle. You're in good hands. Oh, yeah. And then there's Matt Gaetz, ladies and gentlemen. As some would call him, Florida's dumbest congressman, Mr. DUI Matt. He wore a gas mask to this coronavirus vote. Do you know how unprofessional that is? Regardless of what you might think of the coronavirus, there have been 11 people, at least in this country, that have died from the virus. So what does Matt Gaetz decide to do? Because he's such a moron, you want to talk about the definition of a tool, that would be Matt Gaetz. He wears this gas mask in there, thinks that he's being funny, wants to get headlines, wants to make TV appearances. He is a fool. How could anybody vote this guy in? Let me ask you a question. If a Democrat did that, what would be the response from Republicans? If Ocasio-Cortez walked into the Congress and walked into the chambers with a gas mask on, they would be talking about it on Fox News for the next 3 weeks. Matt Gaetz decides to do that. White privilege DUI Matt decides to do that. And yeah, you have a few articles about it and people are calling him a tool on social media. Why aren't people covering this? This guy needs to be out of office because he is an absolute complete tool. And then speaking of tools, what about the President of the United States, ladies and gentlemen? That's why in discussing the coronavirus, the president is now blaming Barack Obama for the virus. I'm not making this up, folks. I'm not taking it out of context. We have the audio to prove it. This is Donald Trump in his own words.
The Obama administration made a decision on testing that turned out to be very detrimental to what we're doing, and we undid that decision a few days ago so that the testing can take place in a much more accurate and rapid fashion.
So make no mistake about it. That's exactly what the president is doing. He is blaming Barack Obama for this situation with the coronavirus. Is anybody okay with that? I'm not okay with it. Should we expect anything less from the president of the United States? Blame Democrats for everything. Blame Barack Obama for everything. Don't take responsibility for your own actions, and then put Mike Pence in charge, the jerk circle vice president. The number to call if you want to be a part of this conversation, 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of this discussion is 257-5396 is the number to call. Why don't we start off with Paul? Paul, you are first up on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Paul?
Hey, guys, you know what? Here's the thing is, as far as blaming each other, they're both doing the same thing. So one's doing it just as much as the other. And as far as the coronavirus, they're only telling us how many cases there are and how many people have died, but they're not telling us how many people have been cured. And so, you know, if every person that contracted it died, you know, they're making it seem that way, that it's a terminal illness.
Well, obviously that's not what's going on here. I understand your point, Paul. Really, to be honest with you, the people that have died, from my understanding, are people that had either other health complications or they were elderly. So I do not think
in most cases it's both.
I do not think this is a death sentence. However, I will say this: just like if you get a serious case of the flu, you need to see your doctor. The only problem being here, if you're not in good health, it could be an issue for you. The thing about the flu is, you know, there are antibiotics that can help you, but if you're not in good health and you're old and you get the flu, it's a bad situation.
I think that this, obviously it's not good, but I think it will help with the flu, because basically to keep from catching it, you have to do the same thing to keep from catching the flu and the coronavirus. So I think obviously we don't want the coronavirus, but the precautions that we're being told to take is going to help us have less flu, which, you know, is a good thing. But I just think if you go to the stores, I don't know, what is the correlation between the coronavirus, bottled water, and toilet paper?
Well, there is none, Paul.
Are they drinking so much water that they get the runs and got to wipe their butts a lot, or what?
That could be true, Paul.
I don't get it.
Here's the correlation, Paul. People are idiots. That's the correlation.
There you go.
Paul, I appreciate the phone call. Thanks for calling in.
All right, guys, take it easy.
You too. 257-5396 is the number to call. Again, 702-257-5396. Hey, maybe all that tissue and toilet paper is for the Mike Pence jerk circle. It's possible, right? 702-257-5396. Let's go to Mike. Mike, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
What's up, Mike?
Guys.
What's up?
How you doing, Mike?
Hey, we spend a lot of time on here condemning what people say. I think we ought to throw it right in there with what Schumer said yesterday about Supreme Court justices, don't you?
Right. And he apologized for that today. He said he misspoke. That wasn't what he was trying to convey, and he apologized. If Donald Trump had apologized for blaming Barack Obama for the coronavirus, I would commend him for that as well.
So it's all good.
Has he apologized? Has Trump apologized for any of those comments he made, or anything for that matter?
I don't know. I read what Schumer said, and I don't really see it as an apology for.
Well, that's what he did, though. He apologized. He said that wasn't what he was trying to convey. Listen, I don't agree with what.
Was Donald Trump not telling the truth?
I don't agree with what Schumer said. I think it was wrong, and I think Schumer plays politics like many people on the right play politics. I agree with you, Mike. The point I'm trying to make is, number one, while Schumer does have a powerful position, make no mistake about it, Donald Trump is the president of the United States, and I think the president has to be more responsible than anyone else in this country as a politician. You can't blame Barack Obama for the coronavirus, Mike. That's all I'm trying to say.
I guess my point is I just see it as one-sided. We're talking about congressmen and such with their actions. I think Chuck Schumer is one of the second, third, or fourth most highest powerful people in the government.
All right, so
I'd put him right up there, wouldn't you?
Okay, well, yeah, certainly he has a very powerful position, and like I said, I don't agree with what he said. I appreciate the fact that he spoke out about it today and said that was not his intention. He apologized for it. But we have a guy like Matt Gaetz who walks into a vote with a gas mask on. I mean, I haven't seen a Democrat do that. I haven't seen a Democrat blame Donald Trump for the coronavirus. Have you?
No, I think it's one of many times. I think we had a Democrat walk into the Senate a couple months ago with the 4 or 5 barrels of Kentucky Fried Chicken. What the hell was that all about?
Well, certainly he wasn't mocking the coronavirus. I mean, we can do what about
this? Well, he wasn't.
Brian, a lot of Democrats.
This happens on both sides with all of the above, but it seems like
why
it only
shouldn't
gets one-sided coverage.
So why can't we just condemn it all?
Why can't we what?
Why can't we condemn it all? Both sides.
I agree with you, but it doesn't seem like that happened.
Well, you mentioned Schumer, okay, and I gave you my opinion on that, and Schumer apologized for what he said. If you can name me any other Democrats that are saying extremely irresponsible things, I will be glad to call them out as well. Donald Trump, you have to understand, he's the president of the United States, so his words matter more than anyone else. Yes, you're right. Schumer does have a very powerful position, but I do believe that there is a responsibility for the president to say things that are actually true and do not. You want to blame Obama for things? Fine, go ahead. Have some facts to back it up. I have no problem with that.
How is he blaming Barack Obama for creating the virus?
Did you not hear that cut that we just played?
I heard that.
He absolutely was.
No, not for creating the virus.
He said because of the testing issues that Obama had.
No, what he's saying is it's more difficult to test based on a law that Obama passed during the Obama administration. Yes, now yes, it is. And now he's trying. And now he said we're changing that law that Obama passed. It's about testing. He's saying that Barack Obama, something that was passed during the Barack Obama administration, made it more difficult to test Americans. He's not saying that Barack Obama literally created the virus.
Well, I can tell you this. Health experts and veterans of the government during Obama's presidency said they were unaware of any policy or rule change during the last administration that would have affected the way the Food and Drug Administration approves tests. So once again, I appreciate the call, Mike, but once again, your president is lying. 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation is 257-5396. We're trying to get word on the next Mike Pence jerk circle. We'll bring that to you live when we get it. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Mark.
Dinner table this time.
Mark, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Mark?
Hey, bud. How are you, man?
Good. What's on
Doing
your
well.
Hey, who do you like tonight, first and foremost?
You talking basketball?
Yeah, talking hoops, and then I have two things for you.
All right. Well, if you're talking about the UNLV Boise State game, I have been back and forth on this game. We have UNLV's assistant coach coming up in the 11 a.m. hour, so I'm going to hold my opinion on that until we get there. But I think, let me put it to you this way, and I'll be perfectly honest with you. There's better games to bet on than this UNLV Boise State game, if that makes any sense.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, stay away.
I just have two things.
Yes, sir.
First of all, Chuck Schumer did not offer an apology. His apology was, well, I'm from Brooklyn, and that's how I talk. And if he's going to use that analogy, well, why can't that hold true for Trump? Because he's also from New York.
Well, I agree.
So hold on a second. That was a backhanded apology, if you can even call it an apology. And second of all, the Obama administration, who shoved the Obamacare down our throats without even reading the bill, who promised every American family was going to save $2,500 on their medical costs each and every year, premiums, doctors, etc. It was the Obama administration that did not allow to have test kits available for hospitals all over the country to test for viruses like this because of the Obamacare and the restrictions that it put on people.
Okay,
so
well,
he did not blame Obama for the virus. He blamed Obama's inadequate Obamacare. And also, there is a Democrat out there. There is a Democrat out there that's ripping Trump, and it's Chelsea Clinton. And she got backhanded by one of the tweets.
I think we lost.
Chelsea's tweet.
Go ahead, Mark.
Chelsea's tweet was President Trump left America.
Mark, I'm sorry. We lost you
and
there.
then somebody tweet.
Mark, are you still there? Go ahead. We lost you for a second. Go ahead.
I'm still here.
Yep.
Chelsea tweeted that President Trump left America totally unprepared for the coronavirus. And then somebody tweeted back that more Americans have died from trying to testify against her mother.
All right,
so,
so
hey,
let me respond. Let me respond.
Way too one-sided.
All right,
Go ahead.
I disagree. Let me respond to that. First of all, we can talk about sons and daughters, and I don't agree with her comments no more than I would agree to more egregious comments that Don Jr. made, claiming that millions of Democrats, Democrats want millions of Americans to die so that Donald Trump can win in 2020. So we can go back and forth on that. I don't agree with.
But that is a true statement.
No, it's not. Whoa. Whoa. Hold on a second. Hold on. No. Pot him down. I let you talk. I let you speak. Now it's my turn. You are defending Don Jr.'s comments, with all due respect, Mark, that you believe, and he believes, that Democrats in office want millions of Americans to die, to get the coronavirus and die, so that Donald Trump can be reelected in 2020? Is that what you believe?
No, I don't believe that. But if you stand back and look at it objectively, the hatred that comes from the left and the right. I'm not just pointing out the left.
That's a different conversation.
The hatred from the left, yes, I would believe that statement.
So is it?
Back,
so is it? Do you believe it or do you not believe it? You're wishy-washy. Yes or no? Do you?
No, I'm saying that, yeah, I believe that there are facts out there, that there are people who just plan out, and it's proven. Like the guy from Florida who drove his van through a Trump tent.
All right,
okay,
give me one Democrat.
Also, one more comment about Mike Pence and the disgusting phrase that you use.
Jerk circle. Yes, sir. I'll say it another. Yes.
So basically, all he's trying to do is make every American safe, and that's how you respond to that.
So did he try to make every American safe with the AIDS epidemic and the needles when he tried to pray it off and it didn't work and people died? Explain to me, was he trying to help people when he said hold on, let me finish. In 2000, when he said that cigarettes don't kill people, or how about when he believes in the fact that the government should pay for gay people to have conversion therapy? He prays things off. He's done it in the past. He has a history of doing it, and I believe he's doing it again. So don't you give me this crap that he's out to help all of us. That's nonsense, sir. That is nonsense.
Okay, I will give you that. But here you're saying something that you have no idea.
No, I have an idea. No, I have an idea. With all due respect. Yes, Mark, Mark, I appreciate the phone call. Let me tell you what my idea is. Mike Pence is a moron, and it is a jerk circle. You know why? Because anybody would be a jerk to put people in that room with the people that are involved in this virus in trying to help people and put them in a prayer group. Many of those people, I would imagine, are not Christians. They shouldn't have to pray. It is an uncomfortable situation. Do that in the privacy of your own home. Don't do it in the White House. This is a man that tried to pray off that epidemic with the AIDS virus and these infectious needles. He tried to pray it off, and innocent people died because of his stupidity, because he would rather pray than do the right thing. He has a history, my friend, and the history says he is a jackass. He is a jerk. And that's exactly what I call that prayer in the White House yesterday, the Mike Pence jerk circle. And I will always refer to it as that, whether you like it or not. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Kevin. Kevin, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Kevin?
Hey, guys. Yeah, you know what? First of all, let me just say that I really hope that everybody is safe. But it's really sad that, as these supporters keep trying to cover Donald Trump and cover his pick, this is a very serious virus, and that in trying to get a handle on it, we've only done like 500 tests in the United States. The test kits, as we get out, the scores of people having the virus go even higher. But rather than hold our government officials accountable, which is now the Trump government Republicans, they're trying to cover, and you're actually putting more people at risk. You need to tell people the truth and help to get the word out that everybody needs to be aware of, that this is not a virus just for the old.
I mean, listen, that's a fair point. Listen, there's a way to not scare people and still tell the truth at the same time. We need that from a leader. That's what a president should be, a leader. Don't scare the American public, but be vigilant and tell people what exactly is going on. I completely agree with you.
That happened last Saturday when they had that press conference, Brian. That's exactly what they did.
No, that's not true.
Yes,
he tried to downplay what was happening.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
He said we have
let me give you an example.
He said we have 40 million test kits available. We have all these masks available.
JD, you obviously didn't. Maybe you didn't hear the press conference.
Of course I did.
Okay.
I watched the press conference.
So here's what he said.
Anthony Fauci spoke. 4 or 5 different people besides Mike Pence and Donald Trump.
Okay, so what did he say about a cure? What did he say about a cure in that press conference?
That it's going to take about a year and a half.
No, he didn't. You didn't hear it. That's my point.
I did.
He
yes,
did not.
I did
no,
hear
JD.
it. Yes, I did hear
Well, here's what we're going to do.
Of course I heard it, Brian.
Here's what we're going to do then.
It's going to take about a year and a half to develop a vaccine, but they are trying to develop a vaccine as we speak.
I will make a $1,000 bet with you on the air right now.
I'm not wagering anything with you, Brian.
Okay, because you're wrong. Here's what he said, because I watched the entire press conference about 5 times. Here's what he said. He said, we're going to find a cure very soon. Very soon we're going to find a cure. He didn't say a year and a half. You know what the experts are saying? They're the ones that are saying it could be a year and a half. He said very soon. Very soon is not a year and a half. You're wrong, JD. He never said that. That's not true. He didn't say that. I'm 100%.
He said 6 months and we'll have a cure. It's nothing to worry about. But it's going to take a year to a year and a half.
Exactly.
Even though some of the scientists said they already have a virus, a cure for the virus. It's going to take a year or a year and a half.
At minimum. At minimum. Yeah, Kevin, you're right. Kevin, you're absolutely right, man. I appreciate the phone call. Good to hear from you.
Good call, Kevin.
257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Ron. Ron, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on, man?
What's up, Ron?
Man, I want to bring back a little history. Maybe you guys may remember a man named Andrew Jackson. He's on a $20 bill.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, let me tell
Might
you
be
something
replaced.
about Mr.
Might be replaced by Oprah Winfrey. That's what I heard. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Ron.
Mr. Jackson, sir. Mr. Jackson, sir, had a duel on the steps of the National Courthouse for an idiot that insulted his wife, Rachel. And guess what Mr. Jackson did? He shot him right between the eyes, dead. And you know what that guy reminds me of? You.
Oh, okay. So you're saying someone's going to shoot me dead?
Against an Andrew Jackson, buddy.
Uh-huh.
And they're going to blow your ass away, buddy.
So you're threatening me on a... Hold on. Keep him
No,
on the line.
I'm not threatening you.
So on a radio station... hold on a second, Ron. Okay, Ron, are you going to be quiet and listen now? So you're saying on a radio...
I'll listen to bullshit
okay. Get him off the air. Get him off the air. So we have a guy that calls into a show.
He actually, last time he called in, he agreed with you.
Yeah, we have a guy...
You had a decent conversation.
We have a guy who calls into a show that compares me to Andrew Jackson?
No, to the guy that Andrew Jackson shot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's very intelligent, Ron. Ron, obviously,
he's saying that someone as cavalier as Andrew Jackson is going to challenge you to a duel, and they're going to end your life.
Ron, obviously, you didn't
because
take
of your political opinions.
Ron, obviously, you didn't take your medication this morning. 702.
Totally agree with that.
702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Wayne. Wayne, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Wayne?
Hey, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing great. What's up, Wayne?
Hey, Ron, I apologize a little bit because you woke up in a nightmare, but I'll forgive you, brother. You were just trying to explain recent history about words that go around in this world we live in America.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Brian, it's America the beautiful. You know this, don't you?
Well, I think there are some parts of America that are beautiful, and I think there are other parts of America that are not so beautiful.
Brian, I've heard you some mornings where America was so beautiful to you. You wanted everybody just to give you hugs and kisses, dude. Don't hide your flatter.
So let me ask you a question.
Hey, Wayne, first of all.
Before.
All right, so Wayne, let me respond.
Anyway, let's get serious.
Hold on. Well, hold on. I want to go with what you just said there. Let me ask you a question. In certain parts of Chicago in the middle of the night, would you call that beautiful? In gangland? Is that beautiful?
I've been around Chicago, brother. I'm U.S. military.
I didn't ask you that. I didn't ask you that.
Jet fighters and satellite.
I didn't ask you.
I didn't more about you.
I didn't ask you about your flight, your pilot resume. I asked you a very specific question. There are certain parts of Chicago where dozens of people are dying on a nightly basis. I'm saying in those parts in downtown Chicago, would you call that beautiful? It's a yes or no question. Your pilot resume history has nothing to do with the question I'm asking. Yes or no? Is that a beautiful part of America?
It is not a beautiful part of America.
Oh, so we're getting somewhere. All of America is not beautiful.
Hey, Brian,
okay, so you made my point.
Why don't you say thank you for your service to this particular gentleman?
Thank you. I didn't hear him say that because I was so frustrated with what he said to start the conversation. If he's a service member, whether we agree or disagree, I thank you for your service. But don't tell me that all of America is beautiful because it's not. People are dying in our streets.
Let me help you with Vice President Pence. You still there, right?
Yes, please help me with the jerk circle.
All right. The jerk circle out of Chicago started back in the 70s when they blocked off the whole government, dude. I was there. What they did was they put railroad ties and everything. They blocked every country road.
What does this have to do with the coronavirus?
Wayne, you kind of sound like Spicoli from Fast Time at Ridgemont High. You're almost floating with your words. How high are you right now, Wayne?
Wayne, are you high right now? Be honest.
Refer to that as drugs or with God. Because
Wayne, be honest, Wayne. What drugs are you on right now? Be honest. Tell us. It's okay. Just tell us what drugs
we're not going to judge you at all.
Why are you asking me this about...
Why are you talking about railroads? Why are you talking about railroads? Why are you talking about railroads? Oh, my God, Wayne. All right. Have a nice day.
Wayne, great call.
Thank you for your service, Wayne. He was high as a kite. He's talking about railroads?
He was literally floating with his words.
Wayne, I think you were in the Pence jerk circle, my friend, but we do appreciate the phone call. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take some more phone calls on the other side of the break. I got a bunch of people waiting on hold, so we will get to you. We have a few phone lines open. 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call, 257-5396. Look, I don't agree with what Chuck Schumer said. It was wrong. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about the things Donald Trump said, blaming Obama for the coronavirus. That and much, much more. Again, your calls, 257-5396. Take a break. Be back right after this. You are listening to The Vegas Take.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
What do Vegas locals know that most visitors don't? That you can see snow in the distance on many a 100-degree day. That our home is one of the few places you might use the AC and the heater the same day. And that all that natural beauty makes this a great place to live. Which is what Yes Air Conditioning is here for. Since 1954, Yes Air Conditioning's strategy has been simple. We get your AC working and keep it working, so you don't have to think about it. Call now and have the peace of mind knowing that the Yes Man can. Call 888-4937 or visit theyesmancan.com. License 711246.
Report Warren ends campaign.
Well, let's take a deep breath and spend a little time on that. We don't have to decide that this minute.
Elizabeth Warren dodged the question of whether she will endorse another candidate after announcing her withdrawal from the presidential race.
One of the hardest parts of this is all those baby promises and all those little girls who are going to have to wait 4 more years. That's going to be hard.
Correspondent MJ Lee.
One of the things that she shared that was a little more poignant was when she said yesterday she walked into the voting booth here in Massachusetts, and she said she saw her name as she was voting for herself, and the thought that she had and the thing that she told herself was, "You've done good, kiddo."
With a slew of Democrats leaving the race, the contest seems to have come down to 2, Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. Both men want a Warren endorsement. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Roadwork continues on Blue Diamond, east and westbound at Arville Street. This is still further notice. Expect delays. And a crash with injury sustained reported Charleston east of Torrey Pines Drive. Collision at Decatur north of Sahara, and police and fire on scene for another serious crash on Gibson Road northbound at the 215 at the underpass. Losing sleep over a stressful job or a bad boss? It's time to get to know Express Employment Professionals. Connect on the Express Jobs app or expresspros.com. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
I was 9 when I lost my leg to bone cancer. I had a 50% chance to live. After chemotherapy treatments at my children's hospital and the amputation, I had beaten the odds. But would I ever be as active as I once was? Fast forward 20 years, I've competed in the Paralympics and now play on the U.S. amputee soccer team. Help kids live their dreams just like me. Put your money where the miracles are. Give to your Children's Miracle Network Hospital.
Have you been lied to by Washington politicians and the Wall Street propaganda machine? Hi, I'm Inc. Magazine best-selling author Brett Kitchen. And if you're over 55 with an IRA or 401k, I want to give you a free copy of my new book, Wealth Beyond Wall Street, because according to Time Magazine, Wall Street's 401ks have failed millions of Americans. After losing 35% in my IRA in the crash years ago, I said enough. And since then, I discovered a way to grow money potential double digits, reduce taxes dramatically, and also have my money protected when the next stock market crash hits. When the next market crash hits, you lose nothing. Call Wealth Beyond Wall Street now to get your free book and talk to a specialist to discover this little-known strategy to get potential double-digit growth during good years and never lose in the next market crash. Call 800-436-8181 to discover this asset that people like Walt Disney and JCPenney use to grow wealthy. Plus, get one of just 97 free books left. We even cover shipping and handling, no credit card required. Call 800-436-8181. 1-800-436-8181. That's 1-800-436-8181.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, glad you could join us on a Thursday. Talking about the coronavirus, we're talking about responsibility within our politicians, and we're taking your phone calls at 257-5396. Look, a lot of you people on the right are just up in arms by the comments of Chuck Schumer. And if you haven't heard it, well, we're going to play it for you right now. This is what Chuck Schumer said in response to talking about Gorsuch and Kavanaugh. Have a listen to this.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh,
You have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
So he also went on to say, you won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions. Now, if anybody in their right mind thinks that this man, Chuck Schumer, is going to kill somebody on the Supreme Court, then you're an idiot. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Was he wrong with maybe his verbiage of what he said? Sure. And he said today, I should not have used the words I used. They didn't come out the way I intended to. And I agree with him. To me, this is nothing more than a nothing burger. And if people are calling it a death threat, which is absurd, it's ridiculous. Donald Trump going on social media saying Schumer has brought great danger to the steps of the United States Supreme Court. Are you effing kidding me, Donald Trump? Really? Great danger? Give me a frickin' break. So you conservatives and Republicans out there, if you really want to talk about grave danger, there's plenty of other things we could talk about. How about Donald Trump basically saying that Obama created the virus, created the coronavirus? Blaming Donald Trump, putting blame on Obama.
Trump didn't do that, Brian.
Yes, he did.
No, he did not blame the virus. He didn't say Barack Obama created the virus in the lab. He said that something Barack Obama, and we've gone over this twice, you keep doing this, something in the Obama administration, a law they passed, has prevented them or has affected their ability to properly test the United States citizens, and that whatever was passed has been switched around. He didn't blame Barack Obama for creating the virus.
I'll put it in context for you.
You're taking it totally out of context.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put it in context for you.
When I listen to Chuck Schumer, he sounds kind of scary, doesn't he?
No, I'm done with that. I'm not even going to talk about it anymore.
You don't think he sounds a little scary?
No, I'm not even going to talk about it anymore because I think it's a nothing burger. And I think conservatives are being hypocrites. No reason for even talking about it anymore. He said what he said. I don't agree with it. He said that his words, he didn't use his words right. And that's it.
His tone, the way he said it.
Well, that's Donald Trump every day.
It was pretty ominous.
Well, that's Donald Trump every day. So, I mean, I'm not even going to.
No, Trump's not like that.
Oh, yeah, not at all. You're right. Trump's not like that. He never does and say inappropriate things. Are you kidding me, JD?
I'm saying he doesn't sound like that.
Really?
He doesn't sound like Chuck Schumer did.
Really? So how does he sound then? When he goes after women based on looks, when he goes after POWs, when he says awful things.
Now these are your anti-Donald Trump talking points that you're rattling off.
Excuse me.
Which you rattle off every single time.
So a talking point is something that is not true, that is unfair to somebody. That's the definition of a talking point. What I talk about is facts. The fact is the President of the United States has gone after women based on looks. He's gone after POWs and their service. Okay, but it's not a talking point, JD. A talking point is something that is not true. Something that someone says to make somebody look bad that is incorrect, that is not factual. Trump lies on a regular basis. He's made fun of women. He's bragged about sexual assault. He's cheated on multiple ex-wives. He's a horrible guy, and he says horrible things on a daily basis. That's not a talking point.
That's your reason. That's your pretty consistent reasons for not being pro-Donald Trump.
I'm okay with that.
That you say every single time.
I'm okay with that. That's a fact checklist is fine by me.
I have no problem with that at all. But the way that Chuck Schumer said what he said, to me, can instill fear into people that are listening to it.
Okay, well, I think that's ridiculous.
It was very over the top, and it was borderline ominous.
Okay,
and I don't see Trump doing that on a consistent basis.
Okay, well, you just name me the time when Trump says something stupid, which he says on a regular basis. And hold on, let me finish.
There's a giant difference between stupid and ominous.
You have to let me finish the question. I was trying to ask you a question. So Donald Trump said, well, the things that Donald Trump says on a regular basis. Tell me a situation where he misspeaks or he doesn't use his words properly, and within 24 hours he said, you know what, I should have used my words differently. Because that's what Chuck Schumer said. Has Donald Trump ever said that? Has Donald Trump ever taken any onage to anything he's ever said that has been inappropriate or wrong? Because Chuck Schumer said, now I shouldn't have used the words that I used. They didn't come out the way I intended to. Has Donald Trump ever done that before?
I've actually agreed with you on multiple occasions before that Donald Trump never does that. He never apologizes.
Okay,
in fact, he always doubles down. But that's not what we're talking about here. You're just flipping the script a little bit to make it more, to make Donald Trump look a little worse.
Not flipping the script.
Donald Trump, obviously, he perceives apologies as weakness, and clearly they are.
Because he's an insecure, narcissistic fool. That's why.
He's definitely insecure. I don't know if he's a fool.
Yes, he is.
He definitely has some shades of narcissism to just the way that he operates.
Shades? His whole body.
Okay, fine. You can think what you want, Brian.
Orange shades of narcissism. I like that.
He does not apologize, although he did almost apologize during the State of the Union one time.
All right, well, let's take some phone calls. 702-257-5396. And almost is not an apology. Let's go to Michelle. Michelle, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Michelle?
Hey, Brian. Hey, JD. I have some good news about the virus. But real quick, first, I want to say regarding your jerk circle.
Yes.
I'm going to switch it around. J stands for Jesus, E, eternal, R, reigning king.
Well, Pence stands for jerk.
A prayer circle, going into the power of prayer and acknowledging God and asking for his favor. It's a very powerful, wonderful thing. No matter where it takes place, in your heart, in your home.
So let me ask you a question then. And listen, if you want to be a religious person, I have no problem with that. But I do have a question for you. For those people that were praying in churches and synagogues that lost their lives, that were shot and killed, how powerful was their prayer?
Well, look, there's no answer for all the things that happen in the earth, all of the evil acts, all of the where you say, well, this person died and they never should have died. Those kind of things I leave up to God because I don't have the answers for everything.
You leave it up to
but real
God?
quick,
So what do you mean?
You just good news about the virus, please.
I understand, but you're talking about prayer, and I'm just giving you a reason, Michelle, with all due respect, why I call it the jerk circle and why I think Pence is a jerk. And the reason why I think Pence is a moron is because, first of all, he believes that the government should pay for people that are gay for conversion therapy. He also tried to pray off this AIDS, HIV use of syringes. He tried to pray it off. That didn't work. Guess what? Innocent people died. So I guess his prayer wasn't so powerful because innocent people died, and then eventually he put it into policy, which he should have done before. This is the man that is in charge of the coronavirus. That's why I call it the jerk circle. Mike Pence is a jerk. Now go ahead, Michelle.
Yes, from my personal perspective, I've had answered a prayer that you can't reasonably say, how did that happen? I just say prayer works. I know it. I'm completely convinced about the existence of God, my creator.
But you're contradicting yourself. Michelle, with all due respect, again, you're contradicting yourself. Mike Pence prayed for that AIDS epidemic to go away. Guess what? Not only did the prayer not work, but more innocent people died. So how can you say that prayer 100% works? How could you say it works when there are people sitting in synagogues and churches that are being massacred and being killed? They're praying. So what makes your prayer work and theirs not work and theirs end their life?
Brian, we're not in a perfect world.
You keep giving
me this. I don't have the answers to everything.
Of course. Okay, I'm okay with that. Michelle, I'm okay with that. You said it right, and I agree with you. We don't have the answers to everything. So if we don't have the answers to everything, then why would you make a statement that there's power in prayer and it works? If you don't have the answers, then don't make a statement like that. Listen, you hope it works. I hope prayer works. This is why I pray. I respect that answer. But don't tell me that prayer works for everybody and it's so powerful, because it doesn't.
It's an imperfect world.
Okay, that's fine. We can leave it at that.
All these people in positions of power, political power like that, they are imperfect people that are going to make mistakes daily, not just once in a while, every day.
Well, I agree. Well, we agree on that. There's no question. All right, go ahead, Michelle. Go ahead and continue.
Give us the good news, Michelle.
I do have some good news, though, to share about the virus.
Great.
Good.
Is that from historical facts, the virus does not do well in hot, humid weather. That's Las Vegas. That's
yes.
Nevada.
I have heard that.
That would definitely.
You're right, Michelle.
Apply to Las Vegas.
I have heard that, Michelle. Unfortunately, we have heard that there's at least one person that has the virus here in Las Vegas. But, Michelle, I am going to say this with all due respect to you because I like you, and I am going to pray for you. What do you think about that?
Well, I just love that. That makes me all warm and nice.
Michelle, I like you.
Real quick.
Yes.
Real quick. There is a historical documentary. It's 40 minutes in length. It's on YouTube by Chromosome 8.
Yes.
And it's all about the Spanish virus that went worldwide because of World War I.
Mm-hmm.
And the death toll, I believe, in the United States was 675,000, but worldwide it was millions. But they had filthy conditions back then.
Right.
And we have sanitation. We don't live in filth.
No, there's
so we're not going to experience anything like that.
Well, some people do, but Michelle, I think we're fortunate that we don't. But Michelle,
a filthy mind, maybe. A filthy mind.
Well,
how about that?
Well, I definitely have that, Michelle. You're right about Michelle. Good to hear from you. Thank you for the phone call. Okay, 257.
Thank you.
Sure, 257-5396. Jack, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Jack?
With that speech that broad made, my God. Let me ask you something. Jeez, goes on. You don't have to pray for me. It's okay. She's giving you his facts. First of all, it's not human in Las Vegas. You should maybe look at the weather now and then. But
Jack, you're a funny guy. I like you. Go ahead.
Yeah. You know, I got to take a cruise. I already paid $3,500 for it in January. And the old lady has been busting my horns with this virus. Let me ask you a stupid question.
That's okay. Go ahead, Jack.
I don't understand the paranoia that this country's going through. The newspapers, the TV, the press. You know, I bet you, if you were to talk to 100 people in, let's say, November or December, and ask them how many people died from the flu, I bet you 90 couldn't tell you.
You're probably right, Jack. People are dumb. You're right.
15 to 20,000 people a year die from the flu. This thing's no worse than the flu.
Exactly. And that's why, Jack, we agree that this has been blown out of proportion. And unless you're really in dire straits and you already have other health complications, if you get the coronavirus, you're probably going to be just fine.
Which is exactly what Donald Trump literally said verbatim last Saturday during that press conference, Brian.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Which is not downplaying it, it's being accurate.
No, listen, Jack, we're in a complete agreement, my friend. I think you and I can grab a beer someday. You sound like a cool guy. Thanks for calling in.
Good call, Jack.
Let's go to Anthony. Anthony, you are next up on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Anthony?
Hey, guys. Brian, you're on a roll. I love it today. You know, I think that jerk circle is probably the best term. I think Jesus called them hypocrite. You know, he said, don't pray like them.
Right.
Do not pray out in the open and with your hands and all. You know, that's Jesus Christ, okay?
Yeah,
I'm Christian.
listen, for Mike
Man,
Pence.
I started my religion.
When Mike Pence, if I ever meet Mike Pence, I'm going to give him some tissues, some personal tissues, and it's going to say jerk circle Pence tissues right on it. That's
Right,
what it's
it
going to say.
doesn't. It does. You know, prayer helps you, but believe me, it doesn't help everyone else.
Yeah, well, you're right about that, my
That's how
friend.
it works.
You're right about that.
You know, one thing is good that I'm liking and I'm hearing, and I like how Trump will say something. Now, I wonder if you guys, I've never seen this happen, where a president says something and the CDC comes out right away and says he's lying.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
I mean, they said there's absolutely no evidence of any law that was passed that stops them from testing people.
Right,
No
and I just read part of that when me and JD were getting into it. You're right; they did just come out and basically say the president was lying. You know, we can get into an argument whether he was completely blaming Obama for the virus, but he was blaming Obama for this testing situation, and it's factually inaccurate according to their statement. Yeah, it's insane.
I think the issue with this particular strand of SARS is that this was. I think it did come from animals. I think that in China where it started at was because of the animals. So I think that we do have a way that we can probably protect ourselves, wash our hands and all that stuff.
Absolutely. Listen,
great job today, Brian. I love it.
No, Anthony, I appreciate the call, my friend. Thank you. And you're right.
Call, Anthony.
Just wash your hands. I mean, I tell my producer to wash his hands every day because he does dirty things alone in his bedroom. So I tell him to wash his hands on a daily basis. He's shaking his head. He knows it's true. 702-257-5396. Before we take a few more calls, and we will, hang on here for a second. Just got this from John Schaefer. He tells us the Southern Nevada Health District is officially now announcing that there's a positive case of the coronavirus. What they're saying is that this patient reported a recent travel history to Washington State, where the community spread of the virus is being reported, and Texas, which also recently reported its first travel-associated case. So the health district is working with its healthcare partners and leading the effort to quickly identify close contacts of the patient. So this is good news, actually. This is not somebody that has not been traveling. This is somebody that was just in Texas and Washington State where they have had cases of the coronavirus. So I wanted to share that with everybody. That is the breaking news, and it is now official. The Southern Nevada Health District says that, yes, there is one case now of the coronavirus. That is what we know. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Brady. Brady, you are next up on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Brady?
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. Your Pence derangement syndrome, Brian, has reached all-time high levels.
Well, I have some good news for you, Brady. What I understand, we just got this from the vice president in the White House in a press release. There is one open seat for you in the Mike Pence jerk circle. So would you like to take that seat, sir? There's an open
Brian,
seat for you.
why do you have to sexualize everything you talk about? From your knee pads,
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's actually a very valid point, Brady. He does like to sexualize basically every single thing that we discuss.
Brian? It shows your lack of intelligence.
Right. So would you like me to answer the question, or you and JD would like to talk over me? I will answer your question by saying this. The Mike Pence jerk circle, you're the one sexualizing it, not me. He's a jerk. It's the Mike Pence jerk circle.
Okay, Brian. What about your knee pad comments every single day that I'm sick of?
Well, yes, because I think you go down on the president every day. Absolutely. I stand by those comments.
I'd like you to come over here right now and have a duel, and I'd blow your ass.
Okay, have a nice day. Have a nice day,
That's
Brady.
actually the second person that has liked to see you. that has had the preference that you need to have your life ended in a duel.
By the way,
Andrew Jackson
for
style,
the record,
Skulls style, Old West style.
For the record, Brady just said that I sexualize too much.
Which you do.
Hold on. For the record,
right.
I would just like to say Brady is the one that used the term blow. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Bill. Bill, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Bill?
Bill, do we have you there? Did we lose Bill? 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Why don't we go to David? David, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's up?
Hey, David.
Good program, good program. I'd like to show you how to turn water into wine. You hold the water up toward the sun, and when you see the finger of God, why, it turns into wine.
I agree, David, and I think, listen, let me be honest with you, David. I'm so glad you brought that up, because when I talk about the coronavirus and I talk about somebody who just contracted the coronavirus, the first thing I think about is how to turn water into wine. So I'm so glad you brought that up. Thank you.
And if, hello?
Yeah, please.
David, do you have any tips on alchemy?
Please go on, because, this is fascinating to me. Go ahead, David.
If yours don't turn into wine, it's because God just gave you the finger.
Wow, I like that. I like that. So basically,
thank you,
David. Really good joke. Thanks for the call.
All right, that phone call turned better. I was getting a little worried there at the beginning, but he was trying to make a joke, and that was actually funny. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Ron. Ron, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Ron?
Hey, Brian. How you guys doing?
Good, man. What's on your mind?
Listen, the first lady, the Christian lady that called about prayer, I got your answer. It's just faith, bro. A lot of people pray and don't have the faith. So in that case, I am a Jew by birth, but I'm Christian by faith. So, and
got you.
That's all I could say.
Well,
and
Ron,
I wanted to ask you how.
Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you. So, how is Michael Avenatti? I haven't heard anything since they.
So let me cut you off. Let me cut you off right there, and let me just ask you a very do you really not know what happened to Michael Avenatti, or are you just trolling? Which one is it?
No. Honest to God, I
you're
like you, Brian. You know I do. I just disagree with you.
Okay. So Avenatti was convicted of extortion when it came to the Nike case. He is he's going to be appealing the case, and we don't know what's going to happen further. But obviously, the man's in a lot of trouble right now. He is a convicted felon.
Okay. No, fair enough. I really hadn't followed the news on that.
That's quite all right, Ron. Ron, we appreciate the phone call, Ron. Thank you for calling in.
Good call, Ron.
257-5396. I thought he was trolling us there. 702-257-5396. Obviously, we're talking about the Brady-Pence jerk circle. So if you want to give us a call about that. Again, Donald Trump is blaming Barack Obama, it appears as though, for the coronavirus. Matt Gaetz, by the way. Matt DUI Gaetz walks in with a gas mask on when he's taking a vote on the coronavirus, making a mockery of what is a serious situation, regardless of whether you think how overblown it's become. People have died from the virus. It is a serious situation. There are people that are not with their families. And, whether they survive it or whether they're going to be okay, it's a serious situation. But Matt Gaetz thinks it's funny. He thinks he could just wear a gas mask so he can get attention and get an interview on Tucker Carlson tonight or Laura Ingraham. It is a joke. How this guy is still in office is ridiculous. And we're taking your calls again, 257-5396. Let's go to Carl. Carl, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Carl?
Yeah, hi, JD, Brian. Listen, I'm getting a little upset. I hear all these people trying to self-diagnose people like Biden with Alzheimer's or dementia. I have a little more experience in it than most of these people. There's senior moments, and there's something called a harmless senior moment and a dangerous senior moment. Biden has quite a few harmless senior moments, but Trump has a hell of a lot of dangerous senior moments. And I'll explain. He just said recently, I think it was last night in a conference with all the doctors around him, well, if you're feeling good, even if you have it, if you're not feeling good, go to work. This is dangerous things to say. He knows more about medicine than anybody. He knows more than all the generals. He knows more than all the doctors. This man has got plenty of senior moments.
What would you consider pooping your pants? Like, what kind of moment is that? Because I've done that before. I mean, but if you're old, I don't know. I mean, maybe I need to wear a diaper. No, but go ahead.
Well, if you're over 18, you have a senior moment.
Of course.
So,
of course.
Yeah. No, but do you agree with me that Trump is just as far senior moments as Biden is, except Biden's are harmless.
Well, Carl, let me make a distinction for you. I think that's a very fair question. But let me make the distinction. This is a very important distinction. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. There's one thing. It's one thing to have a senior moment, and what we're talking about here with Joe Biden is gaffes. For example, 150 million people have died at gun violence. Obviously, he doesn't believe that. Obviously, he's not intentionally trying to lie. It was a senior moment. It was a gaffe. He meant to say 150,000. Then there's moments in the Trump administration. Well, Donald Trump lies. He blatantly lies. He takes, for example, I'll give you a perfect example of what I am talking about, okay? When he talks about the $120,000 payment to Stormy Daniels, and he says he doesn't know anything about it, okay? That is a lie. That is not a senior moment, okay? Doesn't know anything about that $120,000 payment. He doesn't know anything, about, there was no quid pro quo, and Joe Biden's name was mentioned about corruption. These are blatant lies. So there is a fine, while I think Donald Trump does have gaffes as well, and I wouldn't criticize him for that, these are not gaffes. These are not forgetful gaffes. These are blatant lies. And there is a big distinction between intentionally lying as the president of the United States and a gaffe on a stage in a debate where somebody misspeaks. There is a fine line there, and it has nothing to do with politics. It's just obvious, Carl.
Well, let me say just one final thing. Trump is a definite psychological, pathological, serial liar.
Well, I agree.
And the difference is, what I've told you is, a person who lies, who isn't a pathological liar, there's a brick wall in front of the part of your brain that lets you make the lie. But first you think, am I going to get away with it? Should I say it? Do people know about it?
I don't even think he thinks. I don't even think he thinks like that.
A pathological liar doesn't have that barrier.
Right.
A pathological, even if he knows he's going to be found out, even if he knows it's ridiculous, he'll say it anyway. It's pathological.
Yeah, no, I agree, Carl. Good phone call. We appreciate it. Good to hear from you. Okay. Thank you for calling in.
Good call, Carl.
257-5396. By the way, a quick reminder, coming up here at the top of the hour, UNLV is going to be playing Boise State in the quarterfinals of the Mountain West Conference Tournament. The game time is 2 p.m. at the Thomas and Mack Center. UNLV assistant coach Kevin Kruger, you might recognize that name because he's also the son of legendary head coach Lon Kruger. He's going to be joining us coming here at the top of the hour. If you're heading out to the games, I know that San Diego State plays at 11:30 and then UNLV Boise State at 2. So Kevin Kruger will be joining us in a few minutes to break down UNLV Boise State coming up here in just a few hours. Also, Darcy Spears, it is Thursday, so that means it is time for our Dirty Dining segment. That'll be coming up in hour number 3 as well. And don't worry, yes, we are broadcasting live on YouTube on the Vegas Take page. We are not going to forget our hate mail segment of the day. That will be coming up as well. But obviously, we're going to have to preview UNLV and Boise State, and we're going to catch up with Kevin Kruger. JD, this is a huge game for UNLV. And yes, I do think it makes a huge difference in their season. And you hate to say that about one game, but I think it separates from a decent season to a really good season. If they could squeak into the semifinals of the Mountain West Conference Tournament, they face San Diego State. They're the only team to beat San Diego State this year. So that would put a lot of pressure on San Diego State. I really, truly believe that this really, I'm not going to say make or break the season, but it is a huge opportunity for UNLV. Now we're learning that Dimitri Long is most likely not going to be playing for UNLV this afternoon. If you recall, a big part of UNLV's success over the course of certainly the last stretch of 5-6 games, they've been on, I believe, a 5-game winning streak, if I'm not mistaken, is Dimitri Long, who has averaged 17 points a game. This is a guy who averaged a couple buckets a game, last year when he transferred over here. Now he's a different player. This is a big loss for UNLV. However, a positive is that Tillman will be in the lineup today for UNLV. So this is a really interesting scenario. I think if TJ Outsberger had his way, Tillman would continue not to play, and Dimitri Long would play. So this is a big loss for UNLV. My understanding, in a game against San Jose State, he bruised his knee. So we're going to get an update on that. From what we heard is most likely Long is not going to play, but we're going to ask Kevin Kruger on the status of that. I'm sure he'll give us that information. He'll be joining us next, and we will preview, as I mentioned, UNLV Boise State. UNLV, as far as from a gambling perspective goes, it opened up at -3 UNLV, and now it's down to -1.5. So got some money going on Boise State here. I'm not going to give my pick just yet. I want to hear what Kevin Kruger has to say coming up here in just a few minutes. On the other side of the break, we will speak to him, Kevin Kruger, the assistant coach for UNLV basketball. Make no mistake about it, this is the biggest game of the year for UNLV. We'll take a quick break. Kevin coming up next, right here on the Vegas Take, 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
different Amazon parrots and cockatiels and finches and cats and a little Lhasa Apso, a Maltese, she's like 22, a yellow lab Floyd, a black lab Murphy. Murphy's coat, it's very, very shiny, like it sparkles in the sun. And I'm also a part-time dog trainer, so I will always endorse Dinovite. DINOVITE.com. Why wait until your dog is shedding like a monster? Save your dog from the agony, the misery of being stinky and having hot spots and shedding and making sure that they have the proper nutrition. The omega-3 fatty acids, flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food. Get them started early. I mean, your dogs will love you for it. My dogs do puppy zoomies around the house.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dinovite at DINOVITE.com.
Your home for Sean Hannity. KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Ends campaign. Elizabeth Warren says her strategy to win the Democratic presidential nomination was flawed.
I was told at the beginning of this whole undertaking that there are two lanes, a progressive lane that Bernie Sanders is the incumbent for and a moderate lane that Joe Biden is the incumbent for. And there's no room for anyone else in this. I thought that wasn't right, but evidently I was wrong.
Warren's exit ensures the contest is now a two-man race between moderate former Vice President Joe Biden and liberal Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. Both are seeking to get an endorsement from Warren.
Well, let's take a deep breath and spend a little time on that. We don't have to decide that this minute.
Warren was once considered a leading contender. What was once a very crowded field of candidates among the Democrats has now been cut to a very few. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Road work continues on Blue Diamond, east and westbound at Arville Street. This is still further notice. Expect delays. And a crash with injury sustained reported Charleston east of Torrey Pines Drive. Collision at Decatur north of Sahara, and police and fire on scene for another serious crash on Gibson Road northbound at the 215 at the underpass. Losing sleep over a stressful job or a bad boss? It's time to get to know Express Employment Professionals. Connect on the Express Jobs app or ExpressPros.com. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
It's open enrollment season, and Medishare is the Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google Medishare and see if it's a fit for you. Medishare, healthcare you can believe in.
John Schaefer here for my friends at Numel Medical. You know, I've been telling you about them for a while now, and here's why. Because they are the innovators. You know, anytime you have an original idea, an original concept, you have somebody that comes along and they see the success of that original concept, then they try and make it their own, and unfortunately, it's usually just a cheap imitation. Well, not with Numel Medical, because they are the ones who got out in front of this. Testosterone replacement, ED treatments, they're the ones who've been leading the way in the nation for sexual health procedures, and they've been providing tens of thousands of men in the Las Vegas area alone for the past 7 years with that help. Numel Medical starts with your first visit, and they are going to be there with you every step of the way. After I went there for my first visit, I felt comfortable and relaxed knowing they could help guide me through any issue I had. Numel.com. That's Numale.com. 702-505-4414. That's the number. Don't see a cheap imitation. Go to the originators. Numel.com. 702-505-4414.
March 1994, Whitney Houston wins a Grammy for I Will Always Love You. Wayne Gretzky sets a record for career goals. The world's largest omelet is made in Japan, and Best Mattress opens its doors. Hi, I'm Dave Mizrahi, owner of Best Mattress. At our 26th anniversary sales event, our sleep pros will help you find the Tempur-Pedic mattress that's perfect for you. Plus 72 months no interest financing, up to $300 instant store credit, and free delivery. Best Mattress, your Tempur-Pedic elite dealer. Sleep easy, friends. See store for details.
A Home for Spot Animal Rescue says don't shop, adopt. Bring the whole family, along with any dogs you might already have, to their weekly adoption events at PetSmart, 2140 North Rainbow in Lake Mead. Saturdays from 10 to 3 and Sundays from 11 to 3. You can find your new furry friend who's looking for their forever home. Also go to ahomeforspot.com for pictures and descriptions of all the latest dogs looking for a new friend. For more information, go to ahomeforspot.com. That's ahome, the number spot.com.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM 720 AM. KDON. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us on a Thursday. As I mentioned, big UNLV basketball game coming up at 2 p.m. today against Boise State at the Thomas & Mack Center quarterfinals of the Mountain West Conference Tournament. And the man we have with us on the line right now, very gracious with his time, just about 2.5, 3 hours away from game time. And we have UNLV's assistant coach on the line with us. Always appreciate it when he takes time to join us. That is Kevin Kruger. Kevin, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing?
Hey, what's up, Kevin?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, too, on short time. We really do appreciate that, Kevin. All right, let me start with the injuries. We know that Tillman is going to be playing today, correct? Dimitri Long, can you give us his status? Is it 100%? Is he not playing today?
I think it's still to be determined. We just got to look at a couple things, and you know how sometimes the games get going, get closer, and some things can change. So sure. I think we just got to keep an eye out.
Total understandable. Okay, so let's move on to the actual game. That's why we wanted to have you to come on. Obviously, you guys go into Boise State, competitive game. You lose that one. Alston has a monster game. And then here at the Thomas & Mack Center, you guys destroy Boise State. The game plan was executed to perfection. Talk to me a little bit about those two games, how they differed a little bit. And by the way, I think much better team you are now than when you were in Boise. I'm sure you would agree with that. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think you kind of just said it, the difference in when we played them in Boise versus when we played them at home. We feel that we're a much better team than we were the first time we played them, but also playing them back home kind of helped swing the momentum a little bit as well. So, it should make for an interesting kind of now that we both played each other, or now that we kind of are a little more ready for each other and there's not such a big gap, it should make for a pretty interesting game.
If there's one thing that you and the coaching staff have preached to the players today, what has it been in general terms about this team and about this game this afternoon?
Well, I think kind of what you said, about, the first time we played them, we felt that we didn't do some things we needed to do. The second time we played them, we felt that we were honed in pretty good. But then in the last couple of minutes, we kind of let that slip and give them confidence. And so that's kind of one thing we've been talking about is just not to think that, just because the first 35 minutes went the way they did, that it's to not expect them to come out like they did in the last 5 minutes.
How difficult is it, Kevin, from a coach's perspective? I mean, you've played in a lot of big games yourself. Even as your senior year here at UNLV, you guys made the Sweet 16. This is obviously a huge game, right? It's a huge spot. It doesn't define everything, all the good things you guys have done this season, but I'm sure you would admit this is a huge spot for you guys, and it's a great opportunity, right? So how do you hone in to these players? Listen, just play, make it like it is a regular, any other game, even though it's not. I mean, how do you get these guys relaxed? From a coach's standpoint, you're a former player. You've been there before. How are you able to do that in the hours and even minutes before this game?
Well, we just got to continue to prepare like we did all year. And, that nothing's really different in the sense that it's still we're going to go play a game against the Boise team we're familiar with. But there's obviously the elephant in the room of, you don't play tomorrow if you don't win today. And there's no point in, really skirting around it. I think the guys know that, it's a privilege to be where we are and they've earned it. But at the same time, there is a little more emphasis on this game because now when you lose in a tournament, you're done.
Mm-hmm. Now, I wanted to ask you, and I know I would imagine you probably weren't watching all the games yesterday. I saw you in the MAC yesterday. But surprises? I mean, I was a little surprised to see Colorado State lose in the way they did to Wyoming. Wyoming played really hard yesterday, don't get me wrong. But was that a surprise to you? Anything else yesterday?
I wouldn't say surprise. As you know, anything once it comes tournament time, a lot of things can change, and sometimes you get tight. Sometimes you don't get a matchup that maybe is a little bit different, home versus away. So I wouldn't say anything's a surprise, but you're happy for Wyoming to come out and play the way they did. They had some heartbreakers throughout the year, and kind of get the madness of the tournament started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, going back to this game today. What I noticed in the game that Alston had when you guys were in Boise is they gave him a lot of touches early on. What I noticed about the game at the Thomas & Mack Center, you guys were defending him very well, and you were making it very uncomfortable for him. Do you imagine that Leon Rice, you expect that they are going to try to get Alston going early in this game?
I think so. I think our guys did a great job of not being happy with the way we guarded him in Boise. So, the way that we kind of came out and attacked him from the defensive side was really was one of the main game plans. So, but yeah, Coach Rice, obviously a great coach, won a ton of games. So we know he's going to come in prepared with a game plan. So we'll have to make some adjustments, hope that, we're just kind of a step ahead in how we kind of tinker and switch things up based on how they change things up.
Sure. Well, Kevin, I know that you guys have a shoot around coming up here. We certainly don't want to keep you any longer, but as I said to you yesterday, and I'll say it in person and I'll say it again today, you guys continue to do a phenomenal job with this team. It reminds me a lot, Kevin, about your father in that how he's so good at making teams better, and I'm sure you would agree. From the start of the year to where you guys are at now, you guys have done a phenomenal job. And like I said, it reminds me of when your dad was coaching here. And every year you'd say to yourself, you guys have gotten so much better over the course of the last several months. And I think that's why now you have a legitimate shot at not only winning today, but winning this tournament. I really do believe that, Kevin. Keep up the great work. We wish you the best of luck this afternoon. We'll be there, my friend, and hope you get the W. Thank you again.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
No, thanks a lot, Kevin.
UNLV assistant basketball coach Kevin Kruger, really gracious with his time as he's literally going to the shoot around a couple hours before this game. Interesting what he said there, and I didn't want to keep him any longer because he's so nice with his time. But I mean what I just said. When Lon Kruger was here, obviously Kevin's father, the one makeup of Lon Kruger's teams is tough, hard-nosed defense, even if offensively they're struggling, and sometimes Lon Kruger's offense didn't always look pretty. TJ Otzelberger's offense this year didn't always look pretty. But for the second half of this season, JD, it seems to me that the defense has really picked up, and that's why they've excelled. That's why they beat San Diego State. Their execution has been good, don't get me wrong, but there's been some leadership there too, and I commend the coaching staff.
Yeah, defense has been very, very good. I think that UNLV actually they've always had top 3 athletes, at least in the conference, between Tillman, who's a plus athlete, Jung, who's a 6'11", who's pretty much a force inside. He's tough to score against inside. The emergence of Marvin Coleman helped a lot. Mitru Long, I didn't expect anything out of him. As you stated before, he had about 2 points a game at Texas. He actually has ended up to be a pretty decent player. Makes me wonder if he just wasn't getting the opportunities because he was behind guys like Andrew Jones and Matt Coleman over at Texas. So he's had a pretty decent last 10 games as well. But the big surprise to me, and honestly, a huge surprise, was Bryce Hamilton. Bryce Hamilton, who was he's a 6'4", 200 pound 4-star recruit. Who, in my opinion, he looks like he's about 6'7" now. He comes from a very good basketball family. He actually leads the country in percentage on his pull-up jumper. He hits about 65% of his pull-up jumper. He has the best pull-up jumper in the NCAA.
Sure.
He has extremely quick first step. But all those guys together, then you have Antonio off the bench. He'll hit a 3 every now and then, but they're playing definitely hard-nosed, tough defense. And a guy like a Derek Olson, a Justinian Jessup, and R.J. Williams, Abu Kijab, all these guys play for Boise State. They're skinny guys. They're decent athletes, but they're not tough with the ball. They don't play tough defense. They don't really play defense at all, especially on the road. I still like the 1.5 with UNLV in this game. I'll probably just take a money line, whether Mitru Long plays or not. But I do like the under. I like the under today, and UNLV to win the game outright.
Ooh, this is a tough one for me. I've been back and forth on this game. I really like what the coaching staff has done. This is not a shot at the coaching staff because I mean what I say on this show all the time. I don't kiss anybody's ass. If I think somebody's doing a good job, I say it. I have been more complimentary on this coaching staff and what they've been able to do throughout the course of the season than I have since Lon Kruger's been here. And I mean that because I think they deserve it. With that being said, I just have a weird, bad feeling about this game. And the reason why I do is because UNLV has overachieved. TJ Otzelberger has done a fantastic job. Everything's positive, and even if they lose this game, you say to yourself, good year. Let's move on to next year.
And NIT.
Okay, right.
If they lose this game, it's still NIT.
Okay, maybe. But let me move on to Boise for a second. And as you know, sometimes, coaches are on the hot seat, JD. I believe that Leon Rice, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I think Leon Rice is on the hot seat. They have underachieved this year. And he underachieves in the Mountain West Conference tournament year in and year out. He really does. He really does. This is a bigger game for Boise State. They cannot lose this game. If UNLV loses this game, you're going to be disappointed as a fan. You say to yourself, you know what? would have been a guarantee in the NIT. You're right. Maybe they still get in the NIT. I don't know the answer to that. But you say to yourself, it's still a positive year. TJ did some good things. They showed a lot of intensity on the defensive end. That's a positive because TJ's defense at North Dakota State was not always very good. Did I say North Dakota State? South Dakota State.
South Dakota State, yeah.
I'm sorry. But
that was by design. They ran such a high pace,
but you understand my
offense,
point.
and they shot so many threes that it would be tough to play good defense.
But you understand my point. There's positives.
Yeah,
That's
of course,
why,
yeah.
So which game is more important? Listen, it's important to both teams. I get that. But you weigh the coaching situation. You weigh where the teams were supposed to be, at least for the preseason polls. You say to yourself, man, this is a more important game for Boise.
Well, the same logic applied to Fresno State with Air Force, and I ended up taking.
No, not really.
Yeah,
I disagree.
Mean, you had an insider tip that Air Force's coach was going to be fired.
I didn't.
Right?
Well, he is going to be fired.
Okay, well, he won the game,
fired.
and he was actually very excited in the press conference.
But
I ended up taking Fresno State in that game, which I should have never done after actually handicapping the game. I think that whole win-win for the Gipper mentality is not going to apply with this
That's
Boise,
not
or even the which team is the game more important for. I honestly think that if you look at Boise's record, they're horrendous on the road. I mean, they are awful, especially defensively. UNLV is very tough offensively at home. This is a home game for UNLV. You can't say that it isn't. Will there be some fans from all over the conference there? Of course. But this is a home game for UNLV, and they're going to play like it's a home game, and they've been very decent at home.
Here's why.
Granted, they went to San Diego State, and they won on the road. But again, Brian, to me, they're just a tougher team. I think T.J. Altsberger, like you stated before, at South Dakota State, he played to his strengths. His strengths was, David Jenkins, Mike Daum, a lot of offense, not much defense. Here, he recognized the fact that, okay, I've got some run jump athletes. I've got guys that could probably be that have an athletic advantage. So if I run a decent, with Kevin Kruger, obviously, if I run a decent defense, a structured defense where I have these guys respecting me as a head coach, and they did not respect Marvin Menzies, then we can play good team defense, tough-nosed team defense, but we're not going to be an offensive juggernaut. Now with David Jenkins next year and Amari Hardy and Bryce Hamilton, that's arguably one of the best backcourts in the entire country, top to bottom. So I think that'll change next year. But he's one thing T.J. Altsberger has done, in my opinion, as he's shown his ability to play to the strengths of his teams and to build out those teams, predicated on what they do well.
Well, I'll say this because you made the analogy to the Fresno game, and here's why I think that is a completely different scenario. That is a playing game, a couple of the worst teams in the league.
Right.
You could almost say it was a meaningless game, even though Air Force didn't play like that. And the reason why I say that is because nobody expects them to win their quarterfinal game. They're not going to. Air Force is going to get annihilated by San Diego State today. So it was one of those games where you say, okay, what's the difference whether we lose in the playing game or the quarterfinal game? Different type of scenario. Boise State, one of those teams that were supposedly one of the top teams in the conference, and it didn't pan out that way. And Leon Rice has a history of losing big games in March at Boise State in the Mountain West Conference tournament. I'm going to tell you right now, some people might disagree with me, but if Leon Rice loses this game, you could make the case that he is on the hot seat and he does not have the job security. Doesn't matter what happens in this game for TJ, and he's done a good job, by the way, in year one. Totally different scenario. Listen, I think this is a coin flip game.
You're saying that's the underlying reason that you think Boise State has the advantage. But
yes.
On the flip side of it, T.J. Altsberger also wants to start out his Mountain West career on a high note.
Listen, there's no question.
And he has the talent, and I believe he has shown he has the coaching ability to do so. And again, this is a home game for UNLV. Brian, Boise gives up 51% on the road field goal percentage to opponents.
I disagree with
UNLV gives up about 42%. Okay, there's a giant discrepancy there.
I disagree with your assessment that it is a home game. If you look at UNLV's history in the Mountain West Conference tournament, it's abysmal. So it's not. First of all, they're on a different floor. There's not as many UNLV fans in there. There's going to be Boise fans in there. Maybe not a lot, but there's going to be some Boise fans in there. So I understand where you're trying to go with that. I just disagree with it. If you look at the history of UNLV basketball and their record in the Mountain West Conference tournament, it's been horrible since ever since Lon Kruger left. So again, you're weighing two different things that I disagree with. And listen, UNLV could win. You could be absolutely right. You might be right. I think it's a coin flip game, but you're weighing one coach first year wants to get off to a great start in the tournament to a coach that is on the hot seat that could lose his job. So again, I don't know if this is going to be a factor or not. I'm not betting on this game. There will be no gambling for me on this game because I think it is almost an impossible game to pick. I think it's very difficult, but you put a gun to my head, I would absolutely tell you that I would lean towards Boise State. I think it's going to be a very good competitive basketball game. I absolutely think that Alston is the key to this game for both teams. If Alston does not play well, UNLV is going to win this basketball. I mean, they could win by double digits, but if Alston plays well and he has one of those games where he scores 25 or 30 points, UNLV is going to be in a lot of trouble, because if there's one thing about UNLV that would be a concern in this game, it is that if they're not shooting the ball well from three, when they don't shoot the ball well, they struggle to score because they're not always dominant underneath the basket.
Well, considering how weak Alston is taking the ball to the hoop, despite the fact that he's 6'9" with a 7'6" wingspan, he's going to have to shoot well from deep to score anywhere near that amount of points in this game. He is not going to get the baskets inside.
Well, I don't know.
UNLV is just Tillman's a stronger player, Jong's a stronger player, Hamilton's a stronger player, and that's who's going to be guarding Alston the majority of the time.
And, you look at a guy like Jessup, he's the kind of guy that can make 6 or 7 threes in a row.
He can get hot. He can definitely get hot.
So that's another factor. I really believe, and I know we talked, and you're right what you said about Hamilton. He's fantastic, and he's had a great year, breakout year. You're right about what you said about Hamilton. Even if Long plays, he's not going to be scoring 15 or 20 points today. He's hurt. And I don't think you're going to get a lot out of Tillman either, because Tillman has – hold on, you're not going to get a lot out of Tillman either because he hasn't played in a while. So I'm going to go back to Amari Hardy. I said this at the beginning of the year, and I'm going to stick to my guns. Amari Hardy, even though he hasn't been the highest scorer on this team, he is still the heart and soul of this team, and he is a creator. Amari Hardy, to me, is the key to UNLV in this game. Obviously, Alston is the key to Boise State. And I'm not saying Hardy has to score 25 like Alston does. When I say Alston is the key, he needs to have a big game offensively. I'm not saying Hardy has to have a huge game offensively, but he's going to have to be a creator. He has the experience. He's a junior. He's going to be that guy that UNLV is going to have to rely on. A lot of these other players on UNLV that I would be worried about that have never been in this type of situation before, Long being one of them. There are guys on the UNLV, Antonio, and I don't think Antonio is going to play a lot of minutes today, but there are guys on UNLV.
No, he might, because Boise State's pretty slow.
I don't know, but
Antonio is not a great athlete. He is an outstanding shooter.
TJ
but Boise
is not
State,
playing in big minutes.
Boise State is very slow defensively. They're not a quick team. Now against the San Diego State, you can't afford to play Antonio that off. But against Boise State, and they're actually Boise State, this is the fact that Mitru Long may not be playing. They might hold him out because they think they're going to win the game. Brian, Boise State's guards are not good at all. Alex Hobbs, Dickinson, they're barely even serviceable in my opinion. I prefer UNLV's guards to them.
Terrible. Hobbs is
yeah,
awful.
they're all very, very average guards.
Yeah,
they actually probably below average. Robin George can barely move down low. Hijab is okay. Dennis is fine. Jessup can get hot from deep, but he's terrible defensively. And then you have Alston, and that's the majority of Boise State scoring.
Your thoughts on the UNLV season up to this point? We're open up the phone lines. Your thoughts on the game this afternoon? Maybe you're heading out to the Mountain West Conference tournament right now, as I believe San Diego State game is getting underway in about 10 minutes or so. We'll take your phone calls. Your thoughts on UNLV, your thoughts on T.J. Otzelberger and this game this afternoon, the big one against Boise State in the quarterfinals of the Mountain West Conference tournament. That number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation is 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of this conversation, talking some UNLV hoops. That number is 257-5396. We just had UNLV assistant coach Kevin Kruger on. I do find it interesting that they said Dimitri Long, they still haven't made their final decision yet. I think that might be a little bit of gamesmanship, which I completely understand. There is no question that the coaching staff knows whether Long is going to be playing or not. But I think it's fair to say that if he does play, it's probably not going to be some strong minutes. I feel bad for Long because he's had injuries. I think he had, the thumb injury that he had that took him out for a while. And
he was out for 6 weeks, yeah.
That kid came back, and he has been fantastic. I give him all the credit in the world. He has really stepped up as a senior. I feel bad for him that he injured himself at a bad time against a really bad team in San Jose State. I was at the tournament yesterday, as you were, and I watched a few of the games. Colorado State was just awful. It's so funny. I talk to all these people at Colorado State. As anyone who listens to the show knows, I'm a friend of Larry Eustace's, the former Colorado State coach. And you got some of these buffoons over there at Colorado State. It's so great where the program is now. So great where the program is now. Thank God Larry's not here. Oh, really? Larry Eustace never lost in the first round of the Mountain West Conference tournament. Look it up. He never lost in the first round. This is an embarrassment. That team had enough talent where they should have made the semifinals of the Mountain West Conference tournament, and they lose in the play-in game to a horrible Wyoming team. And you're going to tell me that the Colorado State program is better off now without Larry Eustace? Are you kidding me? What a joke. Really, there are people that do podcasts and write about Colorado State basketball, and they were just saying the other day how great where the program is at now. Really? How great is your program at? You were one of the worst teams in the Mountain West Conference, and you lost in the play-in game of the Mountain West Conference tournament. How great is your program at? You had a senior in Nico Carvaccio, who, by the way, I think is a wussy, who had a horrible game yesterday. who has gotten worse over the last couple of years.
2-16 Wyoming in
It's
conference
awful.
is about as bad as it gets.
How bad is that? That's terrible, JD.
That is bad. And Larry Eustace would have beaten that team by 20 or 30 points.
Of course.
Yeah, that's the type of game where Larry Eustace just throttles his opponent because he has such an advantage coaching, whether he has the athletes or not.
Yeah, good job, Nico Medved.
Yeah.
And I know a few of those people there over at Colorado State because I was friends with Larry when he was coaching over there. And, the SID comes over, shakes my hand, says, love me. Some of these people, they're so phony. They're such backstabbers, some of these people.
Didn't you almost take a position over in Colorado?
I almost did. Yeah. That was when Larry was over there. I almost did. I'm glad I didn't. First of all, I wouldn't want to live there, number one.
I don't know. Colorado Springs is pretty beautiful, Brian.
Ugh. Well, you know what? I'll go for Las Vegas over beautiful any day of the week. America the Beautiful. Let's not do that conversation.
Was it a team job or what were the circumstances behind the position?
I was going to do some radio out there.
Okay.
But I'm glad. I really am. Things happen for a reason. I'm glad things panned out. I would have been so unhappy out there. Some of these writers out there, I don't know how much money they're making. I can't imagine it's a lot. But, I mean, they're just so snarky. They're just so snobby out there. And they talk about things. They have no idea what they're talking about. And they're bragging last week about how great the Colorado State basketball program is now. When was the last time that you lost in the play-in game of the Mountain West Conference tournament? Tell me how great your program is. You're in arguably one of the worst conferences in the country. It's certainly one of the top 5 worst conferences, I think you could say. And then you just lost in the play-in game of the Mountain West Conference tournament. What are you going to get, a CBI invitation? You're not an NIT team. You're getting a CBI. Wow, what a great situation your program is at right now. What a joke. I'm just so sick of some of these people.
What's their big win? They beat UNLV at home pretty handily.
They got destroyed
like 15
here.
or 16.
They got killed here.
They got rocked here.
Yeah, manhandled.
Did they beat Nevada?
I don't know.
I don't think they did beat Nevada. They definitely didn't beat San Diego State. They may have beaten Utah State.
They're soft. The team is soft, and the coach is soft. Medved is a soft coach. Trust me, I know a lot of people that have worked for Medved. He is a soft coach. And you have your senior have the game that he had, Carvacho. What a horrible performance by Colorado State. New Mexico, by the way, is not a team I would want to play. Correct me if I'm wrong, JD. Is New Mexico playing Utah State today? To me, that's the game of the day. I think Boise State UNLV is going to be a great game, too. That is my possible upset of the day. I think New Mexico can get Utah State today. And I know Utah State's playing some good basketball. I know they've got last year's player of the year. I know they got Caden. Listen, I understand. Utah State's a very good team. I would not want to play New Mexico.
What's the over-under in that game, Brian?
I don't know. But I would not want to play New Mexico. I saw the way, and I know New Mexico played one of the worst teams in the country yesterday in San Jose State. They're just awful. I get that. But I saw New Mexico, and I saw the way they were playing with the confidence they were playing with. They're a big team. They got big bodies, and they're athletic. And that is something that Utah State struggles with, is athleticism. Utah State's got a lot of players that are smart. Utah State's got a lot of players that, including last year's Conference Player of the Year. They've got a lot of players. They're smart. But New Mexico is extreme. Like I said, they're extremely athletic. And they've got size. Again, that's the one game I see today where I say to myself, that could be the upset. That could be it. But, I look at these other 3 games today. I don't think there's going to be any upsets. I think San Diego State is going to absolutely destroy Air Force. By the way, the West Coast Conference Tournament starts today, at least a couple of the playing games. We got the Zags this weekend. We got BYU at the Orleans Arena, St. Mary's. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of basketball coming up here over the course of the next several days, and we're going to be talking about it. I love it. And then next week, we got the WAC at the Orleans. We got the Pac-12 at T-Mobile Arena. This is my favorite time of the year for sports, really. It really is. I love March Madness. I love the NCAA tournament. I love these conference tournaments because they're all in our backyard. Get to watch live college basketball. To me, there's nothing better. I love it. I love this time of year. I love it. And it's a good change of pace because we could talk a little hoops and we don't always have to talk about, Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, and the orange man that's in office. What's his name again? Oh, yeah, that's right, Donald Trump. It's a good change of pace. I like talking a little hoops. Basketball always been one of my favorite sports since I was a little kid. So looking forward to the game today. Obviously, we hope tomorrow that we're talking about a UNLV win. We hope tomorrow that we will announce that UNLV is in the semifinals of the Mountain West Conference Tournament. I disagree with JD, and again, my pick is, and I could be wrong on this, and I hope I am wrong, quite frankly, but I do think that Boise State is going to win the game today. And again, like I said, I could be wrong. But I don't know. I just got a bad feeling about this game. I really do. Appreciate Kevin Kruger, UNLV assistant coach, taking the time to join us. We know that they'll be ready to go, so it'll be a lot of fun. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, it's our Dirty Dining segment. Darcy Spears from 13 Action News. Take a break. Be back right after this.
The most dangerous day for a newborn is her first day of life. Every 31 seconds, an infant dies from infections, pneumonia, malnutrition. But she doesn't have to die. For more than 60 years, Project Hope has been saving lives around the world, delivering medicines and supplies, giving newborns a healthy start, making sure her first day of life is not her last. Because everyone deserves hope. To volunteer or learn more about Project Hope, visit projecthope.org/newborns.
This is a cow whose milk became everyone's favorite cheese at the craft fair. But cheese only lasts so long. The impression a small business makes needs to last much longer. And now Vistaprint is offering free shipping on all business cards in any quantity. Choose from hundreds of fresh designs tailored to your type of company. Or upload your own. The choice is yours. The time is now. For a limited time only, get free shipping on all business cards in any quantity with promo code 4949. That's promo code 4949 at Vistaprint.com. Vistaprint. Own the now.
Cisco is awaiting testing kits to see if anyone has the coronavirus. The Deputy Homeland Secretary, Ken Cuccinelli.
Helos and PJs basically dropping onto the ship and bringing kits. And we're going to test, if not everybody, a very large number of individuals relative to the ship. And so that we have full information.
More than 20 aboard the ship have shown signs of illness, and a former passenger became the first to die of coronavirus in California. The Senate has just followed the House lead in passing a more than $8 billion bill to fight the virus. It's expected to get the president's support. The head of the World Health Organization says nations cannot stop the battle against the virus and says it is not a time for excuses. He says the time is to pull out all the stops. On Wall Street, stocks are down. The Dow is down more than 1,000 points. I'm Mike Morse.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Roadwork continues on Blue Diamond, east and westbound at Arville Street till further notice. Expect delays. And also an accident reported Charleston east of Torrey Pines. Injuries sustained reported at the crash Charleston westbound near the 95. Police with the accident at Desert Inn at Durango. And police and fire on scene for an accident Gibson Road northbound at the 215 underpass. Losing sleep over a stressful job or a bad boss? It's time to get to know Express Employment Professionals. Connect on the Express Jobs app or expresspros.com. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Join Coach Harvey Hyde and Chuck Hayes Saturday evenings from 9 to 10 p.m. for Trojan Football Report, presented by South Point Hotel and Casino, here on 101.5 FM and 720 AM KDWN, where Las Vegas comes to talk.
This is Harry Jacobs from Credit Restoration of Nevada, inviting you to join me for the Credit Show, Saturday mornings between 9 and 10, here on the new 101.5 FM and 720 AM KDWN.
For over 20 years, Wheel of Fortune slots have paid out more than $3 billion in jackpots and made over 1,000 millionaires. Play Wheel of Fortune today. Wheel of Fortune is a registered trademark of Caliphone Production Incorporated. All rights reserved.
March 1994, Schindler's List wins big at the Oscars. Michael Jordan takes up baseball. Justin Bieber enters the world, and Best Mattress opens its doors. Hi, I'm Dave Mizrahi, owner of Best Mattress. Celebrate our 26th anniversary with rollback prices on all the brands you know and trust. Our no-pressure sleep consultants make mattress shopping easy and enjoyable. Plus, pay no down and no interest for 24 months. Best price, best service, best selection, best mattress. Sleep easy, friends.
Hi, it's David Masters. Join me and my brother Alan for Advice Line, 10 to midnight, Monday through Friday, right here on 720 KDON and on 101.5 FM. That's Advice Line, America's live radio counseling program. If you've got problems, we've got your answers. Monday through Friday, 10 to midnight.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro on a Thursday. So glad you could join us. And, you know, if you have an appetite for food right now, you certainly want to listen to this segment. You know why? because it's going to tell you where you shouldn't go for lunch this afternoon. We always love having her on. It is our weekly Dirty Dining segment with 13 Action News' very own Darcy Spears. Darcy, thanks so much for joining us. How are you?
Actually getting kind of hungry as we approach lunchtime.
We both are always hungry at this time. So, Darcy, I want to start with this place called Masala Express in the Boulevard Food Court. It's on Las Vegas Boulevard. They included in violations of soiled floors, walls, and doors. Sauces, chicken batter, and chips were uncovered and subject to contamination. Thawing meat was dripping onto the floor. So I want to play, before we get your reaction and talk about this, this is a little bit of audio between you and I believe one of the managers of the store. You guys got into it a little bit. Have a listen to this, and then we'll talk about it.
Use and like this machine was not in use, so there was no tags on that. That was the reason that they had. We got the C grade. Other than that, my food and all was everything in the temperature. So we were not about. There was nothing problem with the food. Only some of my equipments, they were not in place. So
well, that's not what the health inspection says. The health inspection found moldy food, a ton of expired food going back to January and early February, and really dirty conditions in the kitchen. That's all listed in the health inspection. So there actually were problems with the food.
They were like not because my kitchen is somewhere else. So we have that all the stuff going on, but we don't have anything because of that. We have all my tags. You can check everything. Everything is good.
The health district did check everything on February 26th, and he's right. Masala Express's kitchen got a 0 demerit A grade upon reinspection. It's good now, yes, but why was there so much expired food in the fridge? They had to throw out yogurt drink mixture, cooked artichokes, heavy cream, cooked chicken wings, spinach, cheese mixture. All of that was expired.
I have no idea about that now.
I have no idea. Okay, so that was an interesting exchange. Can you talk a little bit about what was going on there and describe it to us?
Well, it's interesting how sometimes the person in charge has all kinds of knowledge, and then when you hit them with the facts of the health inspection, they suddenly don't know anything. We actually experienced that on a somewhat consistent basis, where the folks that we're talking to try to convince us that the only issue was a malfunctioning piece of equipment or, something that they consider a little bit more innocuous. They don't quite get that I've always done my homework. I have the health inspection in my hand. I've read every single line in there. And there's always problems with the food. It's never just this equipment that wasn't in use or whatever. So it's kind of funny that, they try to whitewash it, but I'm always going to be right there to come back at them. And then more often than not, you get the, oh, well, I don't know about that. And I can even turn around the report and say, look, it's written right here. What about the moldy onions and the moldy jalapenos? There's pictures of mold on the food. Oh, I don't know anything about that either.
Yeah, exactly. No idea. I have no idea what happened. So what is the end result with this place? What's going on with this place now?
So they were re-inspected. They got their initial downgrade on February 20th, and then 6 days later they were re-inspected, and they did get a 0 demerit A grade back. So they cleaned up their act to the extent that the health district was satisfied and gave them back their A grade. So somebody figured out something. We'll just have to see how long it lasts.
Gosh, it's just amazing to me. And I would imagine you have had so many interactions like the one we just played, where you'll talk to a manager or assistant manager or an owner, and they will act like they are completely clueless, right? I mean, since you've started doing these Dirty Dining segments, how many exchanges like that do you think you've had with management where they seem to take no responsibility for anything?
If I had a dime for every time that happened, I'd have a lot of dimes, I guess. But statistically, I couldn't quote you a number. I do feel like those who are willing to step up, acknowledge, and take responsibility are a lot fewer and further between than those who want to try to craft their own version of the facts or tell you their truth that isn't borne out by what's in the health inspection. And one thing I want to point out about this place is because it's in a food court, everything is open to everything else, and it looks like all the different eateries in that little space there on the strip, share in some cases the kitchen, in other cases prep surfaces. So like some of the food that we read about, for example, pico de gallo and guacamole that were in the temperature danger zone and had to go into the trash, like that's not sold at the Indian restaurant. That's a shared kitchen with another eatery in that food court. So that's something to keep in mind.
So you guys caught up with a place called Vegan Bros Mobile Unit, which was outside a grocery store on Simmons and Centennial. What did you guys find there?
Yeah, so that's a food truck. But in this case, you know how sometimes they're the pull-behind trailers that kind of have their own little setup and don't have a motor themselves. So that's what the mobile unit refers to. But for all intents and purposes, it's a food truck. This one was set up outside that grocery store on Simmons and Centennial, and they had their like an electrical cord plugged into an outlet on the outside of the grocery store. So they were drawing power from the grocery store. Not sure if that was okay, but the health district took pictures of it and mentioned it as, something questionable. This is a place, and people think about vegan eats. They're like, oh, it's, so healthy and so clean. No. In this case, someone complained, and the inspectors confirmed gross, unsanitary conditions. The place was just dirty. There was old food everywhere. They didn't have any water in the trailer. The health inspectors say that they just weren't cleaning up food spills on a daily basis. And that sentence right there is scary. In addition to the fact that it was so gross in there, they said this is going to become a pest infestation. So not okay, not clean, maybe healthy, not clean, but the place is still closed. And even though the owner didn't call me back, I did get in touch with an employee who indicated that they may be done for good.
Ooh, so this hasn't happened that much, right, in your profession, what you do, where they're gone, they're completely done. How many times have you seen something like that happen?
That's really infrequent. Maybe once a year, something like that happens, where a place just shuts down for good. And I don't know if what the health district saw were symptoms of an underlying financial issue with the operation of this business. I couldn't ask those questions because the owner chose not to return my calls. But typically when you see something heading on a downward slope, there's a few underlying reasons for that.
Am I wrong to believe that many of the places that you go or that you talk about are these food trucks? And what advice would you give to people that see a food truck? I mean, what can you really do as a customer to make sure that everything's okay behind where you're ordering the food?
Well, you are right in that there are quite a few food trucks that appear on Dirty Dining. The good news is that they are part of the inspection process. So, wherever they're at, inspectors are going out and looking at them to try to keep them in check, much the same as they do, a restaurant that's a brick and mortar standalone. But they have to display a grade card just like a restaurant does. So it has to be visible to you, and you should ask for it if you don't see it. That's kind of the customer's line of first defense to know, okay, what is their grade and when were the last time they were inspected.
Right.
And you can always check their history on the health district's mobile app or website, just like you can with a regular restaurant. Granted, it's kind of hard to see inside those places, so you don't exactly know what the conditions of the kitchen are, but the first thing you should do is make sure you see the grade.
Gotcha. Well, Darcy, always great work. Tell us a little bit about how we can find you on the tube on Channel 13. Give us a little bit of that information, and also how we can follow you on social media.
Look for Dirty Dining if you want to see the debut performance every Wednesday night on 13 Action News Live at 11. We also re-air Dirty Dining on Thursdays. So today, coming up at 6:30 p.m., you can watch the show on TV with me. We're ktnv.com, always there. Darcy Spears on Facebook. Again, I'm right there for you, and I'm very diligent about posting these stories on my Facebook page every Thursday morning. I tweet out links to it just like you guys are so kind to do.
Yep.
And then, of course, our OTT streaming service is there 24/7, and people can always look for the reports that way as well.
All right, Darcy, keep up the great work. Always appreciate it when you take some time to join us every week, every Thursday. Look forward to those segments and look forward to catching up with you next week. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Stay safe.
Thanks
Stay
a lot,
healthy.
Darcy.
Appreciate it. I still have an appetite, believe it or not. Always appreciate it. How's your appetite doing there? You all right?
Yeah, I'm great, Brian.
I'm actually
I'm
okay.
excited.
Usually
I was just informed that the Mrs. Sharp just made lunch. So
you're lucky.
We're not going to get pizza today, Brian.
Oh, okay.
No,
I'm going to the Mountain West Conference tournament.
Oh, you are?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I might get lunch then head down there.
The missus is making lunch. You're a lucky man. Nobody makes anything for me. I just always have to go out and order food. Nobody makes sense.
But you earned that, though, Brian.
Yeah.
You earned that distinction.
Well, thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
absolutely.
I don't know if that's something to brag about, but I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you very much. All right, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, it is our, well, I shouldn't say our. I don't know if it's my favorite segment, but it's certainly our producer's favorite segment, Jason Stein. It is time for Hate Mail, ladies and gentlemen, and we will get to that coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
My dogs do puppy zoomies around the house, so I will always endorse Dinovite. DINOVITE.com. Why wait? Save your dog from being stinky and having hot spots and shedding and making sure that they have the proper nutrition. Get them started early. I mean, your dogs will love you for it.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dinovite at DINOVITE.com.
Can a tree change a life? At Trees for the Future, we believe trees make all the difference in the fight against poverty, hunger, and climate change. Through a proven permaculture method called the Forest Garden Approach, Trees for the Future has positively impacted over 26,000 farmers and their children. Are you ready to leave a lasting impact on the world? Find out how to plant seeds of hope this season at trees.org/radio. That's trees.org/radio.
Imagine crossing a street busy with traffic, against the light.
Watch where you're going!
Wearing a blindfold. Would you do this? Probably not. It's one risk obviously not worth taking. Some risks aren't as obvious, yet could be just as deadly, like the risk for type 2 diabetes. If you're overweight or over 45, if you're not very active, or don't eat as healthy as you should, there's an easy test you can take to find out your risk. It's free, and in less than a minute, you'll know if you're at risk for this deadly disease. Just go to diabetes.org/take-the-test or call 1-800-DIABETES. Because type 2 diabetes is one risk you can't afford to take. Take the diabetes risk test and stop diabetes before it stops you. A message from the American Diabetes Association.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro, wrapping up a Thursday. Then we're going to be heading out to the Mountain West Conference Tournament. Well, at least I am. I don't know what you guys are doing, but I know JD has some lunch set up. His wife made him some lunch.
What is she making?
I'm a little jealous about that, by
I'm
the
sorry,
way.
I have no idea. I don't know. She said, I have lunch. I think I responded with, what is it? And I haven't gotten a response yet.
Surprise.
Yeah.
I'm very jealous, actually.
It's a mystery lunch.
Yeah. Well, I actually
not
like that.
Not like Mabel Shapiro's mystery meatloaf.
Fair enough.
Just a mystery lunch.
I got a comment again from Mabel in this.
Well, let's go to Jason Stein. He is the producer of the show, and this is what we like to call. Go ahead, Stein. Take it
Call
away.
it hate mail.
Hate mail.
And you can reach us in a number of ways. Our YouTube page is where I get most of the comments, but you can also go to Facebook or Twitter or any place you want to say something negative about the show or specifically Brian. We would love to hear it. So today's installment starts with this viewer who writes, "Gun grabbing Brian, here we go again." I don't even know that we talked about guns today,
What
did
is
we?
he talking about? We didn't even talk about gun control. Like, these people are just making stuff up as they go along. We didn't even touch on that subject today. At least if you're going to criticize me on my stance on guns, at least wait until we actually talk about it. Is that an unfair position, guys? It's ridiculous. Talk about off topic. I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's like being accused of cheating and then not even being able to cheat, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
It's the exact same thing.
Next
Go
comment.
ahead, Stein, next.
Now, this is Maybelle Shapiro, the person who claims to be your mother. And I'm not so sure that that's a lie, actually. At the curious age of 9, Brian was caught in a very compromising position with our neighbors, a much older, promiscuous poodle. Both were separated, punished, and never allowed contact again.
It's kind of funny. I don't know if I have a response for that.
It's not true, right?
No, it's not true.
Well, what was the name of the poodle, Brian?
I never had a poodle.
No, you're saying no basis to this whatsoever.
I've never had a poodle in my life. I did have a collie growing up.
No.
Was it
the neighbor.
Precious?
No. It was the neighbor's poodle.
Right.
Oh, okay. No, I've never heard an animal in my life.
You sound like Sid from Toy Story, Brian.
You said hurt an animal. We don't assume that the animal was hurt in this case.
I'm a dog lover, but I've never taken a dog. I've never done anything of that. I have a higher standard of character when it comes to animals, and I've never committed any type of animal abuse. I've never stolen an animal. I never will steal an animal.
Have you ever referred to anybody as a lying, dog-faced pony soldier, Brian?
I'll be honest with you. Not only have I never said that before, JD, I've never even heard that before. I haven't watched it. What is it, John Wayne movie or something? Is that where you took that from?
That's
Wasn't
what
it?
Biden claims it was
I've
from a
never
John.
even heard
And remember,
that
we
term.
asked Jill Biden about it, and she said, "Oh yeah, he says that. Oh, he's been saying that for years. Says it around the house."
Very commonplace for him in the home, in the
All
Biden
right.
residence.
Next comment: if I were married to Brian Shapiro, he would know where his place is, locked in the basement until it was time to fix my meals, and then he'd be changed to the floor. I hate this fool.
Well, that's fine. I mean, you could hate me all you want to. You can call me a fool all you want to, but just keep chatting
This
on
is
our YouTube
a
page.
new movie, Silence of the Bryans.
I like that comment.
That's good. I like that. I like that.
Not bad. Not bad.
But Brian, this person obviously commenting on your look, says, "I get why Brian does radio now."
Okay. Well, I mean, that's the whole reason
Meaning
why I
you're
wear
ugly.
this hat. Well, is it a man or a woman, by the way?
I don't know.
What's the name?
I don't know. I don't do names anymore.
Oh, you don't do names
I don't do
anymore?
names.
Well,
I
I mean, I will say this. The first thing I think of when I wake up every morning is how I want to look just like a supermodel so I can make everybody happy that's watching our YouTube page. I mean, I don't care about show content. I don't care about, show prep or any of that stuff. Really, all I care about is that I'm clean shaven, even though I'm on the radio. I'm clean shaven, very presentable, and I want to look good for all these people that have, sexual fantasies that they want to perform on me.
It says TS Priscilla-her pronoun, right? That's who wrote that.
But yeah, I think so. But it doesn't really matter because we can't even assume that a female name would actually be a female behind the screen.
We just don't know anymore.
Like Maybelle Shapiro, do you think that's an old 85-year-old lady? No.
All I know
That's
is
probably a man.
I would like to hang out with Maybelle Shapiro because Brian, you were given the finest schools, and look at you now.
Look at you now. Most
Embarrassing.
likely to succeed, and he was homeschooled.
It's not true. Actually, I wish I was homeschooled. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I would prefer that, actually.
Next comment. Judging by Brian's Las Vegas rep, I'm not surprised. The dude's a creep.
A creep? How am I a creep?
Yeah.
Did give any explanation or reasoning behind it?
No.
Why am I a
think
creep?
there were some people that were bantering back and forth about what a creep you are, and that was one of their responses.
Why am I a creep?
I think they were responding to Maybelle Shapiro and the poodle.
Oh, I thought they were responding to the fact that maybe...
you have a rep. You have a rep here in the Las Vegas.
Have I been on that show To Catch a Predator? I don't understand. Why am I a creep?
Well, like that song
Don't know.
by TLC, Creep.
I didn't write it.
There's a strong association with Brian Shapiro with that song.
This is the next comment. Brian hates God, and God hates Brian. I don't disagree with that.
I don't hate God.
No, the part about God hating you.
Well, how would you know that? Does this person speak to God?
Look at your face.
Very funny. You're not supposed to be a part
You
of these
have no
comments.
hair?
Listen, your job. Your job is to read these
No,
comments.
I actually prefer when
Really?
Stein gives
Hold
some
on a
input
second.
as
I'm
well.
just trying to keep the
Hold on a second.
keep
here.
the flow here.
Yeah, keep the blood flowing.
Let's keep
Brian.
the flow. Okay, fine.
Like you with your pills.
Let's keep
Don't
the flow.
turn this on me.
Keep the blood flowing, Brian.
Let's
No,
not
no,
go. Let's
no,
not.
no, no,
This
no,
is
no.
about your hate mail. This is
No,
about
no.
you
JD, if
and your bald
somebody-
head.
I would actually like some hate mail,
JD,
by the way.
JD, hypothetically
I would
speaking,
enjoy being insulted
need-
a couple of
I'll
times.
give you someone. I
JD,
get it. I'll
I
get
need
it.
your-
Okay, I appreciate
JD,
that, Stein. It makes me feel good inside.
I need your opinion
What's
on
up,
something,
man?
JD, okay? Now, this has nothing to do with Jason Stein. I would never talk about Jason Stein like this. But just hypothetically speaking, if somebody made fun of somebody's hair because they were bald, and that person that is making fun of the other person's hair has hair plugs.
Not hair plugs.
Well, I'm not talking about you.
No,
Why
you
would you
are.
get so defensive?
No,
I'm
it's
not talking
a
about
transplant.
We're talking
Plugs are a whole other
we're
thing.
talking about real.
You're not being factually accurate.
Real hair taken from the back of the scalp.
That's like if somebody was a woman was making fun of another woman's boobs that were too small, and she got a breast implant. You're not allowed. Listen, you can make fun of me about anything you want to, but not about hair, my friend. You have a hair transplant.
I was losing my hair. It was thinning. I took a good look at you and said, "That's the last person I want to look at." And yes, I spent some money and got a procedure done. And now I'm an Adonis. Look at this.
You're still thinning on top.
You were the inspiration for Stein's procedure, but you know what you can do.
Was I really? That's not true.
Is you can make fun of them for not being in a position financially to be able to afford a breast augmentation or a hair transplant.
How much did your hair transplant cost? Be honest.
This procedure cost about $10,000.
That's absurd.
Worth every penny.
That's how much JD has lost on the video poker machines the last 3 days.
It's not even, Brian, I'm literally up $22,000 in about 40 days in video poker.
I don't
more
now collectively. Different story.
More commentary on Brian's looks. This person, I believe, sarcastically wrote, "I will say the chin strap is pretty slick." Talking about your stupid beard.
Slick? He likes it?
I'll tell you what.
That's a compliment.
That would actually play over really well in
chin strap beard
in small town, meth-infested Iowa. That would do really well there. That's a Midwest look. That's total. That's all day Council Bluffs. It would do well in Laughlin too, especially at the casino that I was at, where there was a shooting. There almost was a shooting. You would do so well there, especially with that hair.
Go on, Jason. Keep going.
Brian likes Laughlin.
I do like Laughlin.
Just to digress, because I think we have a couple minutes here. We told this story on the air. Brian goes down to Laughlin to play in a video poker tournament, and all of his competitions are people in walkers and rascal scooters. And so the thing is that they could get like better hands than him.
Right.
But he, because of his sheer speed,
he goes faster.
He can like at least triple the amount of hands that he plays, and therefore increases his odds. And so he beats people like Maybelle Shapiro.
Right.
Wins the prize and then feels real good about himself that he beat all these senior citizens. It's actually pretty despicable.
It'd be like running in a race against geriatrics, Brian.
What's wrong with that? I would totally do that.
You would do that.
Yeah.
Would you join the Special
No,
Olympics?
I would let them win.
You would join the Special Olympics and then brag about the gold medal.
No, I'm a very good person. I would let them win.
If you weren't a great high school basketball player, would you identify as a female to play against female competition as opposed to male competition? Because the male competition was too hard for you, Brian.
I mean, I don't know. I competed in 2 sports in college with men, so I mean, I think I'm capable of that. But I don't know why the reference of women. I don't know what you're trying to. Are you trying to pin me a corner? What are you trying to do here?
I was asking if you would consider doing something.
I
like
have
that.
somebody. Okay, so hold on. Let me get this straight. My co-host and my producer in the last 5 minutes. This is supposed to be just about comments. But my producer has decided, who by the way has a hair transplant, is making fun of the fact that I'm bald, and my co-host, who never played a D1 college sport in his life, I played 2 of them on scholarship, is now ragging on me as an athlete.
That actually is not true. I did play Division I sport. I was a walk-on. I was a walk-on football player.
All right. Well, I was on scholarship.
Okay, that's fine.
Brian, we don't like you. We just
Clearly,
don't like you.
I'm learning that in the last 5 minutes.
Next listener
I
writes,
always suspected that, but now I know that 100%.
And this person doesn't like you either. All you guys do is lie and instigate fake allegations against the president. You are a bigot, radical traitor to America. Your show will be shut down. Actually, I think they were talking about you too, JD.
Wow, my first insult.
So my question would be, what is he? What am I lying about? What are we lying about?
Well, the thing I think about the coronavirus, when Trump blamed Obama for the coronavirus, a lot of people were upset and thought you had your facts wrong.
Yeah, but I set that straight. Trump did not say Barack Obama literally created this virus in a lab. He just said that Barack Obama and his administration instituted a couple of laws that prevented the United States from properly testing people, and they've changed those laws. And you decided to spin that. Give it a good Shapiro spin.
No spin.
Oh, heck
no
of a
spin. No spin.
This YouTube viewer writes, I filed yet another complaint with the FCC. Hashtag get Brian off the air.
I wonder what that FCC violation was. I made fun of his God-loving president. Is that what I did?
Well,
I wonder what that would be. Hey, excuse me, FCC. I disagree with Brian Shapiro's opinion on politics. Can you please get him off the air? What a loser you are.
People don't really understand how the FCC works.
No.
You can't get someone off the air just because you don't like what they. I mean, think about it. I mean, there's a lot of opinionated shows out there, and if you don't like them, you just turn the channel. As
This is the kind of guy that loves InfoWars, that would never complain about
for the guys
InfoWars.
who want us off, or the women who want us off, or whatever it is, you have a kind of a hard pill to swallow soon. There is a pretty decent chance that we're going to be not just in Las Vegas, but all over the country relatively quickly. And that's on terrestrial radio. And then our digital presence will actually get stronger. So you'll be seeing more of us, and you'll be hearing more of us.
Well, that's got to be really bad news to those people that want to get Brian off the air.
That's going to be a lot of complaints with the FCC.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of complaints.
I like this
in
one,
a lot
and
of different
this one piqued my curiosity, Brian. This person writes, Brian, stop creeping on Lori. She doesn't want to date you. Remember, no means no.
Who's Lori?
No, I'm asking you, who's Lori?
I have no idea who they're talking about. I don't even know a Lori.
You think that's made up?
I don't know who Lori is. I'm being honest
sure?
with you. I don't know who Lori is.
You run around with a lot of women.
I'm being honest with you. I don't know who Lori is.
Mabel, if you know who Lori is, let us know.
I mean, my sister's name is Laura.
We'd like to know.
I don't know. I don't know who Lori
You're creeping
is.
on your sister?
I'm concerned with this Lori situation now, Brian. I'm a little worried.
I don't know who Lori is.
And finally, Brian's whiny voice is a total buzzkill.
Is a total what? I'm sorry. I couldn't hear what you just
Your
said.
whiny voice is a total buzzkill.
Then why is he listening?
She,
he, whatever. These are all fake accounts anyway. Who cares? Anyway, Stein, thank you very much for those comments, and thank you very much for making fun of my hair. Good luck with your next hair transplant. I appreciate that, JD. I'm glad you told me.
He just pulled a Pelosi.
He just did pull a Pelosi.
Right,
I'm flustered now. You guys were so mean to me.
That's
in
my
this
thing.
segment. All right, we're going to take a 21-hour break, folks. Head to the Mountain West Conference Tournament. Have a great day. Hannity next.
Your home for Sean Hannity. KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Warning for elderly. Ship awaits test kits. I'm Mike Moss.
This is like the angel of death for older individuals.
Peter Hotez of the Baylor Medical School warning Congress